right, everyone. Thank you all so much for hanging in there with us and coming on in spite of the delays. But we are ready to go ahead and get started with some more Song of Rapture right here on Lionhead Gaming, our wonderful Thursday D&D 5e campaign, as DM'd by the wonderful Monsieur Omen. Monsieur Omen, I pass it over to you, my friend.
Gonna be a bit of a sleepy session. Sorry about that, everyone. We last left our valiant vanguard at the end of somewhat of a twisted trial and nightmarish battle against a creature that seemed to hold power and sway over this entire section of an alien world. Although it seems as if our heroes find themselves still on their feet and still in one piece, with a new treasure in hand and hopefully the end of a great ordeal at their, I guess. So, can someone tell me what happened in the last episode of Song of Rapture? What led us to this point?
Previously on Song of Rapture. After gathering 3 pieces to the Dark-Eyed Fae's puzzle, the valiant vanguard followed the rest of the riddle, which was to place the gems into a brazier lit with a green flame, and watched as the fire grew. The inscription on the brazier changed from the riddle that they solved to a new one, telling them to enter the green. Tamar Khan leapt into the fire, disappearing before their eyes, and one by one they followed suit, and then faced the Dark-Eyed Fae himself. Now, the moment had come for them to play a game for the heart of Queen Titania. But in order for the stakes to be fair, everyone had to offer something that was important to them. Persephone offered her arm growing with plant life, which was a gift from long ago. Kuldor offered a medallion that was all he had left of an old friend. Tamar Khan offered a treasure map. Luna offered her connection to the Shadowfell. Swift Hollow offered a valuable ring she had. Samantha wagered an Ioun stone. And Nimines offered his very being. After going over rules of the game, the world around them shifted, separating them all into various rooms. See, the Dark-Eyed Fae watched them go through his labyrinth, and he realized that their teamwork was, well, troublesome. So he broke them up into smaller groups with their own challenges to solve. Swift Hollow and Luna figured out their puzzle quickly, having an advantage over their copy of the Dark-Eyed Fae that faced them. Tamar Khan and Samantha were able to figure out their puzzle partially, but the Dark-Eyed Fae in their room was a challenge to keep up with. And Persephone, Nimines, and Kuldor not only had to fake the Dark-Eyed Fae, but these Darklings and Darkling Elders that hid in the shadows of their room and leapt out to surprise them. Swift Hollow and Luna quickly finished off their challenge and were permitted to proceed, meeting Tamar Khan and Samantha in the next room. But that wasn't a good sign for the Dark-Eyed Fae. That wasn't supposed to happen, apparently. He retreated all his strength into the room his copy had the most trouble in, the Stone Forest Cave, where Persephone and Kuldor were starting to turn the tables in their favor. The rest of the vanguard arrived to their aid, seeing the Dark-Eyed Fae flying in the eye of his own storm, while Perse unleashed the wrath of nature upon him. She struck him with a rock that flew like a bullet, knocking him from the air and giving Tamar Khan a chance to knock him out and seize the heart of Queen Titania. The game was over, and they had won, against all odds. The Dark-Eyed Fae, shocked and confused, asked how this was possible despite separating them, and Samantha had the answer. It was their friendship. Even though they were separated, their bond and their goal to help Persephone is what kept them going, and in that they were united. Being at his own game, the Dark-Eyed Fae shrunk until he was nothing but a small pearl, and left his treasures to the victors. We rejoin our heroes basking in their victory, knowing that Queen Titania will reward them wonderfully for their success, and maybe now Persephone's brother will not have to go through with this marriage. So join us tonight for another verse in the Song of Rapture.
Very well done, Mel. Give yourself some DM inspiration.
Thank you.
Bravo.
As indeed we find the valiant vanguard now resting in what could only really be called the nest of the Dark-Eyed Fae, now seemingly vacant of its owner. Beyond this, I guess, cave made of tree and plant life seems to be a path that opens up far, far, far ahead into the forest, although it seems the group might have their own idea of how to venture back to the kingdom of Argaia. But in between them and their path, they would find resting before them what one might call a throne of a giant knotted root to be filled and sort of, I guess, entwined with an assortment of strange-looking treasures, those most likely not of this world. As the group has spent some time assuming licking their wounds, tending to some of their injuries, others more severe than the one next to them. The group would sort of go through and discern a number of these trinkets, some of magical nature, others simply just through strange supernatural value. Unless there's anything else you guys want to do first before you take your rest.
Finish off the
Just
rest of the
slowly
group.
bleed out on the grass.
Okay.
He takes a rest while Tamar still got his big old form. He's gonna be climbing up into the tree and plucking things out of the roots, wrenching them free, and tossing them down to
I'll
Swift
catch
and
you.
the rest that are waiting there. Quildor, yes.
Poggers.
Just start making.
Oh my god, I'm hacking.
Damn.
Wow, you
Christ.
cheater!
Alright, those are my next
Cheater!
4
Oh,
levels.
yeah.
I'm just gonna take those, thanks. No problem. Next
That's
4
the power
levels,
of friendship
10
right
HP.
there.
Put them in different piles.
Yep, as just sort of throwing them out of the tree, Temercon, large hands, is able to easily pluck out some of these, some bit more delicate than other items. You'd find assortment of strange looking, I guess you could consider them treasures. They're just sort of supernatural in their sort of appearance. They almost look like they'd be gemstones, but there's always something strange and twisted about them. One of them being about the size of what would have been your fist before you became twice as large. It looks to be a strange, clear crystal that as you hold that, your fingers almost press through the crystal before they're stopped by a force, as if it's some strange magical creation. And the inside of this, I guess you call it a force crystal, there seems to be this soft, glowing shape that, with your discerning massive eye, determined that it would be like that of a heart, as if another prisoner held by this creature. Quite valuable looking. Toss that down. Another one seems to be a small,
It
like,
definitely
box.
looks like I'm going through and like plucking things out, taking a look at it, lose interest, and then toss it down to Quildor. It looks like I'm looking for something.
Oh, yeah. As you pull out another one, it seems to be a small stack of cards kept in a nice little, apparently leather bound. You turn to see the face of them, and the first thing you see back is a reflection of your own face. These things seem to have a strangely mirrored appearance upon their face again. And it seems to be trimmed in the edge with, looks like gold writing in Sylvan. Just looks like a very neat, magically touched deck of cards. As you pull it away to like throw
I
it down to
burn them.
Quildor, burn them.
Immediately.
You'd see,
Burn them
you'd see, turning down to Quildor, dropping them down. Quildor would actually see for a moment Temercon's face in the cards, giving him a smile and a wink before the image seems to fade away. Beyond that, you'd have a small, I guess in your hand, small comb, seemingly made out of some dark blue gem, possibly sapphire, that seems to be still laced between its teeth. Thin white hairs that, as you sort of turn it to and fro in this dim light, you'd see it has a strange iridescence to it, as if it's contains or holds the hair of something quite immaculate beyond that of the mortal world. Toss that down as well. Last one inside that really, besides a few other things, catches your eye is a small, tiny rock, like a pebble that, when you first pull it from the roots, you see your hand holds a ball of fire, a tiny little coal that burns with a blue flame, but it doesn't burn with heat. It seems to almost be icy cold to the touch. This thing seems to be strangely suffused with icy magic. Toss that to the ground as well. Beyond that, you just find a few somewhat simple-looking things. One of them is a elegant in design, but rather bulbous and large-looking horn made out of brass, sort of in the shape of what looks to be like the trunk of an elephant, with the base of it being this large, round, bulbous mouthpiece with a pair of tusks sticking out. You'd find what looks to be a long, thin stretch of, you think it's like leather or thin silk, but it's like it has this sheen on it that seems to, I guess, evade the eye as you look at it. You realize this is a scarf made from the hide of some sort of beast that's able to sort of shift its position in time and space, at least to the eye. Something that of a displacer piece scarf. And last, a small necklace made out of various looking sharp canine teeth that oftentimes seem to shift and move in position along the length of the cord. You'd know these to be the teeth of a blink dog. They make quite an assortment of chaotic jewelry. But besides that, the true value you find in this tree come in some small tinctures, other strange fruit identified. First ones being, let's see, starting down the line, you find 2 small bottles made of strange crystal material, not quite cleanly cut, not like you'd find in the mortal world where things have been blown and used with heat to give nice round shapes. This thing looks like it was like a crystal vial that had been carved by the edge of a knife. Its shape almost like that of a heart, and the insides, if you were to ever just gently taste it, There's just a moment of sweet, intoxicating flavor that for a moment, I guess looking down at your group, tossing down to Quildor, maybe it's Quildor, maybe it's someone else your eyes glance at, but for just a moment, there is a character about them, something that holds your attention for just an ever so long moment, before immediately the sensation fades. As you realize you found within this tree, it looks to be a filter of love. It seems to be a potion made out of some incredibly sweet juice that when a creature drinks it, for the next 24 hours, the first creature they see within 10 minutes of their ingestion, they find themselves, I guess really, to a certain degree, attracted to, whether it is as a companion or as something much, much more. Next to that, strangely enough, you find a vial. This one's seemingly like that you'd find in the mortal world, although the insides are quite strange. A golden ichor inside, seemingly filled with random floating, I guess, particulars. You'd see like the scales of a fish, the small claws of what looked to be some sort of beast. Maybe it was a reptile. You'd see like tufts of fur. And even strangely enough, there is a creature swimming inside this thing, a tiny little floating fish swimming back and forth and all around. A taste of this one gives you the strangest results, Tamarkan. You feel your large body sort of size grow larger for a moment and then shift down. Your teeth become larger, your shoulders become broader, your hands become thin and spiked with scales and claws, and your form then immediately reverts back into its original shape, realizing this thing contains magic of a strange, shape-changing nature, more specifically to that of a wild animal, as you'd find yourselves a potion of polymorph.
There's a goldfish in there.
Drink the fish.
Gotta drink the fish.
Drink the fish.
Something quite small you find in this tree, Tamarkan. These potions are oftentimes made by the hands of more crafty fae, but they all come from certain sources within this great wild, some of them being magical fruits that reside in this great and wide, wondrous wild of the Feywild. One of them, barely able to fit between your fingers, like the size of a grape. You catch its attention for a moment, something that the creatures of the Feywild often warned of and often eluded. I guess creatures of certain mischievous natures grasp such as yours. A small berry that's only grown in a far-off place, often hidden in the Feywild, known as the Hag Hovel Bog. It is a tiny berry that once consumed, I guess suffuses its consumer in a moment of pure, controllable magic that can reach out and claim the mind of another, if only for a short period of time. These things are quite rare, and to be offered here, well, something must have gone through great lengths to gather such a small, edible treasure as you find yourself a Mind Thief berry. Seems to be a berry that, if you decide to eat, gives you a moment's casting of the spell Dominate Monster, allowing you to, at least for a temporary amount of time, control another creature to your very whim. Although once the spell ends, the magic seems to fade, and you no longer can cast the magic. Now, they're seemingly grown in this tree, although perhaps the roots just seemed to envelop and wrap around it. You'd find what looks to be a beautiful-looking lotus, that as you gently pluck it from the edge of this tree, you notice within the inner circle of this lotus are 8 glowing petals that when your finger just gingerly brushes against it, Tamarkan, you find your mind flashing to a time beyond this moment, perhaps standing inside a kingdom of great and resplendent color, spanning before a wondrous-looking appearance, vague in your mind, but once the feeling ends, you feel like you could almost try to call upon that moment. These flowers, these things that often never bloom, either here or any other world, seemingly found inside this tree, perhaps once offered as a treasure to the dark-eyed fae. In your hand, you hold a Fate Bloom Lotus, that which, if you were to pluck out one of these glowing petals, would grant you, for a temporary amount of time, a chance to look beyond the future, to see a moment of weal or woe, and use that knowledge to your advantage to control a situation much more than the chances of fate allow. Let's see. Besides that, you would find sort of lodged near the bottom of this tree, wrapped around in roots. You have to sort of tear them out and toss them to the rest of the group to actually really get them free. A pair of thin, very thin boots of this seemingly green leather, but as you toy with it, you realize it's made out of plant life. And as they fall, they seem to clatter to the ground and tumble quite quickly across its surface. It seems as if after probably, I'm assuming, one of you takes some time to observe and toy with these items a little bit, you'd realize these are boots that are made with some strange magic lodged in them. A magic that allows whoever puts them on, whoever toys with them on their feet, or simply just tosses them around would realize these things are designed to move very quickly, almost like that you'd expect of the tiny little feet of creatures you'd fought in the past, as you find yourselves a pair of quickling souls, allowing the wearer to move quite quickly if they're willing to toy with the magic within. Let's see, Okay. Also quite delicate in this tree, almost hard to find save for its handle, Tamarcon, but with your sharpened senses, you're able to make out in the middle of this strong guard, there's a pair of recurved, I guess you'd call them arches, from the middle of this handle. Transparent in nature, save for the soft sheen of what looks to be some strange magical luminescence. You'd pull it free, and you realize you're holding what looks to be the shape of a bow, but the legs are clearly, I guess, no pun intended, made of the legs of one of these strange spiders that you have encountered in the Feywild. These strange creatures that seem to slip between the worlds, and even the string that latches between them seems to ever fade from one's sight, as you find yourself a bow that seems to be made of that of the magic that suffuses. A Fey spider. Let's see. Okay, cool. Last sort of bundle, less normal thing you really find in here, compared to the other treasures that lie, would be a small bag. Just about, maybe weighs about a quarter of a, or maybe a half a pound or so, thick leather, kind of has some girth to it. As you pull it out from this tree, you see this thing feels like it's got plenty of weight in it. You'd imagine probably almost like a few pounds inside, but you open it up and there's nothing really in there. Nothing that really should weigh as much, save for what seem to be 7 thumb-sized beans resting at the bottom of this bag. You give it a shake, and these things weigh quite a bit. You think each one probably weighs about a quarter of a pound? And the whole thing, as one sort of toys with the magic inside, would realize these beans, these tiny little creations found in the Feywild, seem to be completely and utterly suffused with the strange, twisted, chaotic, and even destructive magic that comes from the depths of the Feywild. As you find yourself, as the name would imply, a good old bag of beans.
Yeah.
Pyramid.
And
pyramid.
Pulling them through, you'd find a few more treasures, those that you'd have to be a little more delicate with in nature. One of them being what seems to be about a foot tall, kind of ovoid in shape, a resplendent looking gathering of what looks to be these multicolored iridescent scales. It's obvious what this thing is in shape, but as you hold it, there is a definite warmth to it and the soft, gentle throb of what seems to be life pulsing within this beautiful little treasure. And as you look at the sides and bottom, this shape, what you can only really call an egg, seems to be latched and lodged with small treasures, like that of metal and gemstones, but those that seem to be closest to the surface and top seem to be slowly but surely, whether over time or by the use of magic, fusing into the shell of this egg. And those who would spend some time sort of observing this thing through all sorts of different means would discern that this thing is filled not only with what seems to be gentle stirrings of life, but also great and immense power if one were to, sacrifice said life for one's own gain, as you'd find yourself a resplendent-looking egg. Let's see. Near the center of this tree, really having to tear it open, you feel a strange magical presence inside that almost seems to call to you before something else seems to reach back and latch onto a couple of your fingers, Tamarcon, something alive and prying, as you would find this thing. It looks like a core made out of plant life, still somewhat alive, but there is the definite stirrings of some other force sort of suffusing it. One might even say poisoning it. You'd see a mass of plant life still alive and reaching something that you would actually recognize from your own, at least from what stories have often told, not true but live your experience. A mass of plant life in the shape of a heart almost, that seems to be wrapped around in thick brambles as this strange, one might even call like ethereal magic seems to pour from it, almost like bleeding from a wound. And even, I would say, among all of you, Samantha, you'd feel the rod against your side tug the moment this thing pulls itself from, I guess, its capture. And the same sort of sensation you felt way back on the island of Stroma when that strange mound of obsidian was exposed from that great rapture in the middle of the temple. As you hold in your hand this massive plant life that seems to be touched by horrible magic, one might say beautiful and resplendent, having been corrupted. As you hold in your hand the corrupted wildwood core. And in all your searching, Tamarkan, tearing and ripping away, finding something that really calls to you, you find all of this centered and wrapped around a single branch inside this massive tree, I guess root tree. And it's not really a treasure you would expect to find, not one of a great value. It does show gold color, a gilded glittering that runs along its length as you have to untangle this thing from its hold. You hold a cord in your hand, but you would know from your own nature, from your own anatomy, that this thing is not a cord, it is not a belt. It is a long strip of flesh and fur. You hold a tail in your hand, a golden tail that seems in your hands to suffuse with power very similar to your own. Power that, if one were to acquire it in their own strange way, might be able to tap into something either innate or something perhaps alien to them, a nature of hollowness that allows one to reach into the emptiness within and draw out great physicality, as you would find a treasure of a lost Khan, the Simian cord.
I lost your tail. It is a sad tale indeed.
And I guess the last thing that would reside would be within Persephone's grasp. A small, blackened sphere, like a pearl, although it's strange as you hold it, there's a moment of force before your fingers seem to slip right inside, another ephemeral mass of magic. Although as you hold it, you do feel like a surge of power, a moment of knowledge. This thing is what all could be considered the Dark Eye, a mound of, I guess we really called, dreaded magic, almost similar to that when you summon your sphere of that gloaming power that helps hide and suffuse you in the darkness. This carries a similar power, although more mischievous in nature. It has a connection to magic all around it, and to truly access it, you'd have to, well, make it a part of yourself. As you would spend time holding, understanding, and truly, if given the choice, bonding with the Dark Eye.
Hmm.
And I think that's it. I think among the treasures, the last thing probably Quildor would have in his own possession, having nabbed it at the very end of that fight, would be a small, now seemingly shaking and quivering crown of the same living mass of plant life. It seems as if it doesn't really have any properties other to it. If you saw it crawled off the ground and tried to get back onto the dark-eyed Fae's head after he was felled, but it does seem that now that its owner has disappeared, this thing just simply resides alive and filled with magic, as you would find all the treasures shown before and the following treasures of no real true power, but seemingly value and magic.
Oh, snap. So much stuff!
Okay, so now what does the Archfae's heart do?
It seems as if you were to spend time trying to understand it, it is just a mass of pure power. It doesn't seem to have any real effect unless you were to try and forcefully bond with it, although you don't know how that would happen as you are a person, and this creature that seemingly held it in his hand was that of the Fae nature. You think it might destroy you.
The glowing heart in a temporal crystal stasis is not her heart, or is it a different?
It's not her heart.
Okay.
Her heart's a little more expensive than that.
I would hope so. All right, I have a nice little treasure list here, like I did for the dragon for Obsidious.
We'll
All right,
fight
everyone,
over
roll,
it.
roll for need and greed.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Okay,
All of the
everyone, place your token on the item you want the most.
nice, I'm big.
Oh wait, hang on, I have to go look at everything again
Samar
then, if we're
shrinks
doing
down.
this.
Go there.
Are we
I'm gonna
divvying
take
them up
these-
now? Oh crap, I have to go look at it.
I figure
Everyone
everyone just
take
takes the
the
simian
tail.
cord, right? Yep.
Everyone
Alright,
fights over the
tail is
tail.
mine.
Nasty, ew.
Hang on, someone give me the rundown on them.
Quickling boots. A bag of beans. I know I'm not really helpful.
A good
by just
bow.
naming what
Bag
they
of
are.
beans.
We have
Yeah,
we have
a
an
I saw the
Imperial
bow, I was like, hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
How many ranged weapons would I have about now?
Dark Eyes pretty much screams Samantha.
It gives you a bunch of free cast of some pretty decent magic, some dark vision as well, with good saves, DC 17. There's a corrupted wildwood core, which basically is just like, hey, do you want to be like an evil druid?
I would say you
gives
do feel your rod pulling towards that one. You
I
think
definitely felt it. Every time
Just
anything
to
so
say.
small and grabbable has popped up, I have asked you, hey, does my fucking scepter react? So I'm glad
Oh yeah.
that I can feel that. It has some sort of divine magic and some corrupted magic. It de-ages you in a weird kind of way. There's what else we got? The Quickling boots are pretty cool. You can burn normal time by clicking them once, and you double your movement speed, and then opportunity attacks are at disadvantage. Or you can double time it, and then it burns.
The haste spell.
Yeah, you get the haste spell. I think it's just for a minute, if I understood the math right. Is that what it's saying? Okay, yeah. So
every
you get
1
haste-
second that the haste spell's in action, it takes 10 seconds off the boots. So every round is 6 seconds. So every round would be a minute off its total 10, which would be a minute.
Yeah, exactly. So 10 rounds, 10 minutes. It checks out. So that way he doesn't make the Mercer mistake of just
10
giving you free
rounds,
haste.
10 minutes. Alright, checks out, makes sense.
Bag of beans, which I think is just that'll probably just go into the community pot. We got a love potion, polymorph potion.
Do we get a deck of many things?
We got
No,
a
it's
cool
just
art
special
deck.
mirror
It's a,
cards.
yeah, it's a mirror set of playing cards with gold.
Oh no, I was talking about the
actions.
beans. Did we get bag of many beans?
Yeah, we got a bag of
So you
beans.
had a bag of beans.
Yeah, the actual.
Oh
roll of
boy!
100
Wait, hang on, I want to read this. You can use an action. Oh, you get fireball. Is that it?
Yeah, you can plant
Oh,
it.
there you go. You have to
That's
plant
what
it. All right.
Are these the
You
ones
throw
that are like?
beans, you can dump out the beans, or you can plant them.
What's the cold
At least that's
fire
the
one?
original one.
Oh,
One
that
with
just seems to
cold
be a
fire.
small coal of cold fire. That just seems to
Oh,
be
okay.
like a small special item.
Okay,
It's a
so we
coal. It has fire,
12-inch
but it's
tall
cold.
egg
Yeah, so we
covered in
have
scales. Is that the
whole-
Samantha one, or is it the heart?
The corrupted wildwood core is the one that my scepter is like vibrating at my side about. The resplendent egg.
2 stats if you eat it,
is-
but you gotta make a
yeah.
DC 20 con save.
Yeah, otherwise you take.
You
a
can grow what's
fuck
inside
ton
or
of
eat the
damage.
egg.
Very curious about that. And we have a cool consumable that's just like 8 future sight D20s with the lotus petals, and a berry of dominate person. And then we have a bunch of basically crafting components and or cool RP things depending on how you want to shake it out. Cool heart worth a bunch of money instead of a temple, a crystal stasis thing, a cool crown of living wildwood, a nice sapphire comb with some iridescent hairs still in it, a coal of endless cold flame, another musical instrument with an elegant brass horn, a displacer bee scarf, blink dog, tooth necklace, all the stuff worth some money and obviously containing some sort of magic and or just being really cool in the case of the playing cards most likely. So you want to hash out actual magic and then crafting components and or RP items, or how you want to do it? I like the fact that they're all on here and we could actually do the put your token next to what you want the absolute most.
Oh god, I have to move everything out of the way. Oh god, there's so much stuff. Oh, wasn't there a map somewhere underneath all of this?
Peter has the tiny screen.
Oh yeah,
Oh, baby.
I'm on my laptop.
Oh,
poor
I put
baby.
the square around mine.
Ooh.
Oh,
You
that
really
bow
want
is
to go
tempting.
fast, huh?
That bow is
Yes.
tempting.
Yes. Yes.
Yoink.
I mean,
I don't
like
think you understand.
like
My little-
Persephone with haste, that'd be pretty nice.
My little Fey touch druid getting like the speed of fucking quicklings.
I'll take the fate flower. I'll put prior on the fate flower.
Okay, the bow is almost what I'm looking for.
That bow is pretty lit for you because like.
I
it
mean,
has
I
the
don't think you
reposition
need to
ability,
put.
too.
I don't think you need to put yourself by the tail.
Yeah, obviously you
Tamarcon.
get the
just
monkey
get
tail. That's
You
a
get
given.
the tail.
I'll
That's
just
the-
get
that's the
myself out of
free
the way.
space on the bingo board for you.
Luna reaches for the tail.
Those
Yep.
key points though.
Tail's got some good power. If you give it on a monk, he gets some extra key points. If you give it to a non-monk, he gets some key points for proficiency once per long rest. Get
What
some
does a
strange.
non-monk get to do with the key points?
whatever the key point feature does. You can do flurry of blows. You can do
Oh, you just
step of the wind,
access
and you
to
can do
key?
It makes you a diet monk.
What?
diet monk.
Monk
Yeah.
light.
I knew there was a whole bunch written here, but I didn't understand it. 'Cause
Oh yeah, gives
I
you key
assumed it was
points.
just vernacular.
Poor
Oh,
old
no,
man,
you
he
get-
would love that.
Oh,
At
wow.
least dodge the bonus action.
I know, right? Good for rogues.
Yeah.
I've already shoved it up my butt.
So
I
okay,
have two
so-
tails now.
Oh, thank you. I was literally about to ask. Please tell me you're gonna have two tails, like a fucking V or Y tail or something.
However you take its
Tails.
power is
As
up
the
to
tail
you.
starts spinning.
Shove it up
both
my
of
butt.
them.
Oh wait, throw the belt out as well. Where's the belt? Let's fucking hash that out too while we're here.
What belt? I don't know what you're talking
Coldor's
about.
putting himself
What
by
belt?
the egg, but I feel like he's gonna want to bump his strength, and we have a kick-ass belt that bumps his strength.
I'm not both.
They can't stack because of the way the belt's written.
Oh, gotcha.
Ooh, let's see.
Where's the belt?
Yeah,
It's
but the
lost
belt also
somewhere.
kills you.
It doesn't kill you. Also, there's a gilded crown of Ressus. Do you not have that on you?
No,
Oh,
he gave it
No.
back.
I
That's
would
what
No,
I
he
told
gave
my
it
brother.
back. Yeah,
To
he
your
stole it and then he
avatar
gave it back.
state? Oh no, to your
we,
brother.
yeah, we
That's
took
right.
it. We took it from his brother. We used
I
it.
didn't
and
know
we
which
put it back.
monkey.
Mhm.
Which monkey we took that from. Okay.
Yeah, we
Where
took it from his
is
brother. I had to like drug him.
Yeah.
Belt.
Heroes.
I don't. Oh, there it is. Okay, there's the icon, but I don't remember where it does.
Not
Both are
totally
gentlemen.
magic items. Persephone is gonna want that crown of living wildwood because it is totally her aesthetic.
Oh, but so expensive. I could fence that off for you. You don't need it.
I would like to add the wildwood crown to my crown of flowers, please, and thank you.
These beans.
Oh, these are the treasure items.
Yeah. Let's hash out the magic items first. Okay, so
Yeah, let's
Lilo
do
wants
magic
the
items and then we'll do
Dark
money.
Eye. I have the weird vibrating doom heart that hopefully my staff can keep the curse away from me on. Bag of beans goes in the community pot. Swift Hollow's taking the lotus. Do you want the bow? I don't feel like, because like
It makes
it
sense.
pays off the most.
Me
for
or Tamar
you.
Khan?
You or Tamar.
Yeah, you Tamar are like the two that it pays off the most for.
Probably
for
so
sure.
tall because she's been having some difficulties with range, and I've already got my eyes on a different bow, so that's fine.
Can you use
Yeah,
longbows
but
as a rogue?
I also have my eyes on a different bow.
He's a elf.
He's a high elf.
That's right.
Elfos can all use
Look at
boas.
that!
I'll
It's
take
actually
both.
coming up for once.
I'll take the bow and milk. It's alright. I'll just put a note here.
I mean, I could use
Marshall.
the arrow property. I wouldn't mind, but yeah, if you're gonna eat it, go ahead. I'm not gonna stop you.
Do you want to eat the bow? Because I have a thing I could give you if you want to eat the bow.
Maybe I could somehow use it with my Grand Hex hybrid, but I probably have to like melt
Because
it.
you're doing like a bunch of planner stuff, and I have a cool cloak that gives you like etherealness. So maybe you could wrap that together with its ethereal nature and do like a ethereal thing. If you want to do that, because I'm cool with. Because I have the stone ring for the AC and saving throws, and I think they would stack, but it's 2 attunement slots. So
Yeah, if no one else wants it, I can figure something out with it.
Yeah,
I
I roll
Cor-
greed on the bow.
Well, then I also roll greed, so now we have
Oh,
to
okay.
roll.
okay, so 2
But you didn't roll
D100s.
need, so we're both equal. Need
No, we
takes
have to-
precedence to greed, and then greed takes precedence to not throwing your hat in.
So who's taking the
I'm
bow?
rolling greed on the bow.
Yes,
Yeah,
you
we
guys
have
have
to
to
roll for it now.
Alright. Are you rolling greed,
I'm rolling
Brendan?
greed.
No, I'm not rolling.
What is this? Come on.
I'm not rolling on the bow. I'm
Someone
not,
just
u-
decide.
This is
I'm
the
not using
MMO.
DKP on the bow. I'm keeping my DKP for other items.
Yeah,
later on.
I'll use the DKP. I don't mind. I don't know. I could probably use it. I might, like, Nick. Oh my
I mean,
god,
if
it's
you-
stuck
if
on
you-
rolling
If you just
dice.
don't want it, if you just don't want it, I'll take it. I'll figure something out.
Yeah, I could figure out a way to use it. Oh my god, I'm stuck on rolling the dice. Yeah, that's why I'm rolling greed.
Yeah, even if you don't attune, it's still just a +2 bow.
Again, we're back to the crossbow
And
thing
a
of
really
like,
big teleport.
still
That's
plus
the
one.
Really nice thing I like about it.
even if I don't attune to it.
To
Oh my god, this
3.
is taking forever. I'm like stuck.
All your DKP is
Oh.
gone. You get nothing. We're sorry.
Oh no, my roll 20 died.
Yeah, basically comes down to if you're gonna
there it goes.
use it, if you want to use it as is, take priority. If someone wants to break it down to make a thing, okay, maybe give it to the person who wants to actually use it.
Yeah,
You're gonna actually
disenchant
use
is
it,
not
take
the
But
priority.
we
Yeah.
both want to break
So is it
down. I think
need,
basically.
greed, and then disenchant as does the tiers?
Oh yeah. Matt's go to the guild is the last.
Wait, so you're also going to break it down, Peter?
Maybe. Yeah.
I'm gonna just roll need. It's fine now.
Okay.
Goes into the pot for now.
What? No, I gotta roll need.
What?
I'm gonna. Are you just giving it to him? There you go. There's your bow.
Okay. So
my roll
then,
20 broke.
What are you doing with the dark eye then?
Or I'm gonna just use it as is.
Okay.
Do I have to take out my eye?
Nope.
I think
It seems to be
it's
strangely
it's
ethereal.
100.
You just sort of stick it into your eyeball.
You become
Oh, no.
400K
Shadow's breaking.
with the dark eye. It'll look
Becomes
better on
even
you.
darker. Okay. And potions, berries, throwing them in the pot.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think all 4 of those will go into the big bag of we'll use them as needed. I'll put
Okay.
the berry in my personal inventory just because I'm probably the most likely to actually use it.
Okay.
Cooler wants the egg. Good. And then in
Carter
terms
also wants
of
the belt.
yeah,
I
Cooler,
don't
you
know,
also-
but I don't trust the belt.
we have
Take the
remove
belt.
curse.
Take the
We can save you.
Yeah, but like the
Let him-
belt, if I remember right, like the guy couldn't speak.
Well, he can't speak because he had a fucked up job.
Yeah, his jaw was
Yeah,
Yeah,
fucked up.
because of the
that
belt.
It was not because of the belt.
Because when the belt
I mean,
came
it might
off,
have
I
been.
think his jaw was fixed.
No,
Nope.
his jaw was still
No.
fucked up.
yeah,
I don't
DM
trust
just said
the
no.
belt.
Yeah,
I want
that
one of
was-
the
that
I
Break
want
your
one
jaw.
of the
You know what? I
one of
take
the
the belt
10
too.
to
The
investigate
belt
it.
of jaw breaking.
Actually, you know what? Just because of all this, I attune to the belt real quick.
just to find out what happens.
Your jaw immediately snaps.
Alrighty. You really tuned to the belt?
I do.
Alright, good shit.
And you die.
As you put on the belt, yeah, after about maybe 15 or so minutes after you've taken some time to adjust yourself to some of the new magics that you seem to be taking into your possession, this belt seems to cinch itself to your sides. It's pretty damn heavy. This thing weighs 10 pounds and is strapped to basically to your size. Like the entire top of the buckle comes up to like just underneath your chest. But then once it cinches to you, there's a surge of power as suddenly you can see within the sort of, I guess that would be somewhat tight fit of her outfit, her studded leather outfit becomes like stretched suddenly as her body surges with incredible muscle all at once. And within your mind, you feel the sudden spike, Luna, a pull against all, I guess, really facets of your thoughts and personality as the belt seems to weigh down in the depths of your mind. As a new form of magic takes hold as you wear it, you feel your innate connection to your powers that you hold and pull from your, I guess, for you, your very essence, somewhat blocked and tampered with. As with this great belt of giant's might, you feel not only is your mind somewhat numbed, although to you, I think you'd be somewhat on a pretty decent level, your spellcasting seems to be somewhat inhibited. As the curse of the belt not only lowers your intelligence, wisdom, and charisma score by 3, but while you're wearing it, you cannot use your spellcasting feature. It seems to be a great power for those who have or desire physical might, but those who use magic, it might actually be something of a brace, something that can inhibit their ability. It also seemed like when this thing was strapped to your waist, it immediately cinched to you, and then the magic spiked through you.
Luna strong.
Well,
I
you'll
gotta
certainly
be honest
larger.
here. I'm kind of stupid. I can't say the actual quote because we'll get canceled, but I'm kind of stupid.
Are you okay?
Do you mean the belt's a
You're
mistake?
so
As Persephone's putting on her new
muscular.
shoes.
Samantha just sort of like rubs your fucking ripped sides.
She can't talk.
And you can
No,
talk.
if and int is reduced to 3 or lower, you can no longer speak. That's just
Oh,
normal.
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's just how int works.
Oh god, I wonder if
You
his
can-
hit
you
was
can become-
reduced so fucking much.
You can
we could
become
just
so
go.
stupid you just can't talk. You become an animal.
So, like, my head hurts. Not terribly, but it's weird. Also, I can't cast spells. Like, I can't. She kind of flicks her fingers out and nothing's happening.
Okay, that's a problem.
That's a very
Okay, how do
big
we get this
problem.
off then? You sort of just like look behind you, trying to like reach around your much wider, muscular love handles and try to unfasten the belt.
That dummy thick booty.
Well, see, the thing is, for most, I guess, cursed items, you can't really. Can you, like, remove the curse? I was able to remove it when I possessed that one guy because it wasn't on me, it was on him. But now it's on me.
And you really don't want to take it off, Luna.
Plus, I like it. It really matches my figure, don't you think?
It completely changes your figure.
Exactly.
You have a whole new. Why didn't we put it on me then? Or someone else, so you could have done the same thing.
I mean, it's fine. Who needs spells anyways? We have these. She flexes.
Wait.
You need spells.
Spell smells.
Maybe I can take it off tomorrow?
Or never.
You know, Luna, you're supposed to be the one with a really good fashion sense. I just don't think that belt works for you.
Persephone. I don't take fashion sense from trash.
Persephone she just looks at Samantha. She's keeping the belt.
I'm going to need you to fix this, Persephone.
She's keeping the belt just for today. We should
I mean-
probably take it off before we tell Queen Titania what she wants. Because I'm afraid she might have actually forgot.
Oh, no, I know. I still know what I want.
More muscles.
I mean, look at her delts.
Another
That
of these
would-
belts!
That would be good, but that's not as good as what I actually want.
More belt.
Maybe a hat to match it.
Oh my god. Well,
I mean, could the queen remove this curse on this item?
But we only have one wish. Do we want to use Luna's wish to get rid of her belt?
no, you
But
can
We
get
could
rid of
ask
it.
for some butter and get her slid out of it.
I mean, does her hound get a wish as well?
I don't. That's a good question.
We should have brought Bran.
My hound
then.
did help.
Bran is part of the Valiant Vanguard. He could have gotten a wish for himself. Truly unfortunate. How long are you going to be big, Tamarkan? You're very imposing.
For a bit longer. If you take a big drink, you'll stay this way for quite a while. But it should wear off in an hour or so.
Maybe we can take this off of you tomorrow and maybe find a way to cut into the magic or something. It might be possible, but this thing is unbecoming of you, though also alluring in its own way, as Demented just seems to just be simultaneously repulsed and checking you out at the same time.
Just
Alright, so
grating
I caught
cheese
it.
against her.
When it
Grating
gets on the
cheese.
ground and puts one of her arms up, arm wrestle.
Who you arm wrestling?
Tomorrow.
Oh dear, Samantha just backs away from this.
Let us try it.
First just nudges Samantha. You're dating her.
I know.
Gonna lose this so bad. Got advantage, but advantage with +1.
Give me opposing strength checks. Sheer power.
God.
Hey, 17. It's mostly just move your entire body with just my massive
Yeah, it's all
hand.
leverage. Oh my god. As I pick up the corrupted wildwood core and just sort of feel the shaking of my scepter, look at the wildwood core in the other hand, and just
You just sort of like, as you feel that strange pull again, it's pulling on your magic. You remember for a moment that time on Stroma when you faced that strange corrupted piece of obsidian. It wasn't so much you ate it necessarily. It wasn't so much you just shoved it into the rod. It was more like this thing that from every ounce of your body, this thing holds something inside of it fiendish, something that has touched and destroyed and sullied it. And honestly, it just has to be destroyed.
Ah. I just sort of tighten my my grip into the core itself, start trying to dig my nails into the wood, and just start sort of channeling magic through my arm into it as I try to recall how I broke the obsidian.
Oh, you shot the shit out of it.
I just shot it.
You just shot the shit out of it with your rod.
Okay, yeah, I just kind of crunch my hand in. Does this feel more potent than what I faced before?
It feels like this thing is quite enduring. There is enough life in this thing that as you're crushing this thing with your power, you feel the drawing the magic even from your rod to help you do so. This thing endures and endures until the I'm assuming you're making your hand to like a claw or something with some sort of magic power, or are you just like?
Oh yeah, like if I feel like it's if it's like much more potent, kind of resisting my grip, I am just going to immediately enshroud my arm with Spirit Shroud, just calling on that strange sort of ethereal gauntlet, and crunch in with Eldritch Claws, just trying to wrench the corruption away from this thing.
As you eventually start ripping and tearing, you can see suddenly the entire thing begins to build with cracks and tears until finally the thing breaks, and you see a surge of both the strange abyssal and divine light seem to sort of surge out from inside, and normally would almost looks like it would erupt out of this thing, almost like an explosion. But this sort of burst of light immediately gets sullied and contained, and almost like caught by the mouths of all these writhing serpents that now seem to animate ever so slightly at the head of your rod, almost like watching a bomb go off, but the whole thing starts to get swallowed in that moment by the rod. You can see its length starting to twist and turn, growing somewhat larger. Once before, like a small rod kept at the side, now about the size of that of a cane. You could hold it down at your waist by the heads of these snakes, and the bottom would rest comfortably at the ground. It'd make something of a good walker, although definitely too pristine to do so. As your Shard of Avarice gains a new mound of power and a new well that can be drawn upon from within. As you find that now, not only can you channel greater power from your rod, you find that you're able to use that power to call upon something normally innate, normally very difficult to use without your body sort of giving out. You find that while you now have additional uses of your hungering serpents in a way, you can expend this property once per day to, instead of basically casting your Mystic Arcanums using their once a day use, you can use the power lodged in the shard, giving you essentially once per day an additional use of one, but just one, of your Mystic Arcanum spells.
Ooh. Nice. And it goes to +2 as well, or was it no?
+2, baby.
Yeah. And to my saving throw DCs. And so I can use the once a day spell slot regain to use a Mystic Arcanum.
Mm-hmm.
Got you. And then I can use the Hungering Serpents to recharge it.
Whenever you defeat a spellcaster, seems there's no longer a limit. It's not as
once
potent
per
as one.
long rest?
It was mostly the strength of your caster. You couldn't eat too many weak ones, but now
I
it can
just
make much more.
Yeah, I can get more value out of weaker spellcasters.
As the corrupted wildwood heart singes in its last moments before the sparks of your magic seem to envelop and dissolve until nothing remains.
sort of blow and let the ashes sort of float through the air. More power. Good.
You destroyed it.
It was coated in Feywild corruption, but there was a nugget of something greater, something of the upper planes stored within, that I was able to capitalize on. Take it for myself.
Interesting.
As Samantha says that she is able to sort of capitalize on it, take it for herself. No, we haven't had a long rest yet. Never mind.
Yeah, fuck you. No
Gotta
one.
show off, but I shouldn't be able to do that yet.
Persephone is going to unattune from her ring of vanishing so that I can attune to the quickling souls.
Nice. As you slide these boots on your feet, they have a strange, like very close fit the moment they slide on. They're not almost as like they go tight, but they seem just perfectly snug as you sort of adjust them. You do feel like as you're sort of like tugging against one end, sort of find like a place where you can slide it off. The boots are kind of well fitted, like comfortable, but not much wiggle room inside. In fact, no wiggle room. These things feel like they are quite actually latched to your feet. Moment the sort of buzz of energy through you as you realize, oh, these things are filled with magic, a magic that you become immediately aware of. Something you've heard in stories before, something that Tamarkan would likely be aware of, though only truly by first-hand experience would you understand it. The tale of the Quickling, a creature within the Feywild that was either blessed or one say cursed with immense speed, allowing them to dart around the world unseen as tiny blurs. However, this magic that allows them to move ever so quickly also pushes them through life ever so quickly. You find that while you wear these boots, not only are they latched to your feet until magic seems to remove them, you also find yourself aging a little bit faster. For every 1 day that passes, 2 days are aged. Every minute that passes, 2 minutes are aged.
Lifespan just got cut in half.
Stop rip me!
You better get to that high level druid.
Right. To counteract it like shit.
God, when I was pulling the bow from the tree, how ethereal are we talking?
How
Really?
ethereal.
Were the arms of this bow said they sort of shimmered in and out of existence? Were they passing through things?
It seemed almost as if they're more super duper translucent, but you do see that as you do like slide this thing, if you were to like put it in a bag, you do see the legs seem to gently fold up and become almost unseen. Again, these things are super transparent.
Ooh. On second thought, realizing that it seems like these legs seem to bend and even sort of move themselves out of the way of objects. Getting away, the big problem that Tamarkan is having with his bow is a big old piece of wood strapped to him. Tamarkan would totally take that bow.
Assuming you're going to use it?
Homophobia.
I will totally use that bow.
Blatant homophobia.
Oh my god.
So rereading it, I was like, wait a second, did you just say the bow is ethereal? The bow is ethereal. That's the whole reason why I wanted the other bow, because it folded.
Mm-hmm. He's got some foldy legs made of strange ethereal spider legs that can slip between the planes.
It's thundering like a motherfucker.
Ooh, ominous. All right. As it seems like the group has their object holder. What are you doing with the egg? As everyone else seems to be toying and tuning with their toys. You gonna eat it?
I mean, I will eat it, but I'm
You're
gonna
gonna
strategically.
eat it.
I'm gonna eat it, but I'm gonna strategically wait until I can get some guidance from Tamarkan. You know,
Help me
maybe
eat
find
this egg.
maybe find a bard or something that can give me some bardic
Please help me eat
inspiration.
this egg.
Guidance won't
Yeah.
help you, but
Guidance doesn't help you, it's ability.
we
checks.
need
Yeah,
to we need to
resistance.
strengthen our
Yeah.
bond.
Yeah,
Eat
yeah.
the
Need
egg.
to strengthen the
Resistance.
bond. Need
Get
someone
blessed.
to cast bless on me.
That's funny.
You know,
I got you, baby.
it'll be a big ritual thing, right? So I'll need bless. I'll need the bond. You know, maybe there's a bard somewhere in the world we can find. You get a D6 too. Make sure I've
We'll
got,
find a
my
paladin
abdominals
stand next to
ready.
a high-level
Yep, stand next to a paladin. Somewhere like my base thing is like, all right, you get plus 30 to it, right?
God, I want to eat this egg, but I need all my support from my friends.
Mhm.
We all just sit around and watch you eat an egg. Like, this is weird. You guys feel like it's a little weird?
That's friendship. All right. You seem to
know,
have
as
your
is one
gathered
of us,
treasure,
I didn't think you were going to be the one eating an egg.
as well as a small mound of extremely magic-touched treasures. As you guys find yourself into your short rest.
Oh, what are we doing with the treasure items? I am the heart taker, so I want to take this heart as well.
I want the crown
Crown.
of living wildwood. Yes.
Yeah. Do you want
I
the
put it
comb,
on
Luna?
with my flowers.
Laced with iridescent hairs. I don't want other people's hairs in my hair.
Oh my fucking
You
god.
can just take the hairs off. It's a cool sapphire comb. All the magic is in the hair.
Yeah, right?
Probably.
It's unicorn hair, isn't it?
It's probably unicorn hair. Or
I
hag
also
hair.
kind of want the scarf.
I mean,
Scarves are in the season.
do you think there's any magical ability to any of these items? Or is it just purely valuable to some seeker of treasure?
I hold up the coal
That's all
that
it
is
takes to
literally on
displace a
fire
beast,
and it's not
guys.
burning me.
I
Did
mean,
ya?
Seems pretty magical to me, Quildor, but perhaps something
And,
like the opals that we took from Obsidius, something you could have a great blacksmith imbue into your blade or something. You have a fire thing going on, don't you?
the Feywilds is just a realm of magic. I'm sure as much as these things might be considered mundane trinkets to many of the people here, they would be quite valuable in our world, and maybe they even have some magical effect.
Also, what kind of horn is the brass horn? Is it like
This
a
is like a big
simple,
old, like-
signal horn, or
Like it looks like a big old signal horn, not like a cool trumpet thing. It just
yeah,
you
just
just
like
blow
a
into it.
blaring note? Okay.
In the shape of what looks to be a large elephant trunk.
Yeah.
Valiant Vanguard song part 2.
I went from liking it to not liking it.
Big old Blair horn.
I like a big old blare horn. I don't like elephant.
Mm-hmm.
Taking your liking to the cards if no one likes them.
I do like the cards. I just didn't want to claim two things before everyone else claimed something. So I'll put those down for Tamar. Alright, so I'll take the heart. Tamar has the cards. Persephone has the crown. Luna's taking the scarf. Displacer Beast scarf. And you want the Blink Dog tooth necklace?
Like, how cheesy does it look?
Straight off
tooth
the
necklace?
boardwalk, baby.
You look like a surfer
Yeah.
boy.
Surfer
It just
boy.
literally looks like a leather cord full of these different sized teeth, sharp canines. But yeah, every once in a while, it might be of different colors, and every so often those kind of shift in phase, and two of them will switch places. Hard to ever see it looking the same way twice.
I'll steal that comb too, since Tamarcon stole my item.
I guess I'll take the necklace and put it under my armor.
Okay.
Blink Dog tooth necklace, Quildor. Elegant brass horn, still up for grabs, and coal of endless flame.
Oh, I mean, obviously the horn's going to, Javen. Right? No.
Prize.
Right? That's the character name? Yeah.
Weeps.
Javen will take it.
Javen, we've had a
Take the
giant
coal,
horn
then.
for you.
Hey, Javen found a horn! Take it!
I got
did
two
like the
now.
We mail it
He has
to him.
two.
All the
Yeah.
horns. Okay. So
He
I'm
puts
putting
one
his-
horn inside the other one to make it a super horn.
Mm-hmm. It's like stacking your
I guess we'll
megaphones
take
together.
the coal then.
All right.
Swift Hall takes the coal of endless cold flame.
How does it feel? Is it just cold?
It literally feels like you'd be holding a hot coal, and it does sort of singe your bare skin, but not, again, like in the same way you're holding a piece of ice, there's that sudden feeling of burning, but it's just that from that sheer cold. It doesn't seem to catch or burn anything around you, it doesn't seem to spread. But holding it in your hand, it does seem to actually generate some coolness. If you're in a hot area, this would be a nice little way to strangely cool off.
Does the
I see. Into the bag.
does the heart beat?
it seems like it's locked inside of some strange crystal of magical force. Like it seems to be completely still. It seems to be like
Gotcha.
softly iridescent light. You can't really sense much from it. It seems like the magic surrounding it is keeping you from able to discern what it can do. But it does seem like this thing holds a considerable value, considering just everything about it seems to be magically touched.
All right. Filter of love.
Yeah. Throw my old shitty longbow on the ground.
Put it in the tray.
Swifthollow took the flower.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Mike.
Lunatic.
I throw it into the forest. I don't need that magic shit.
Get this
I
bullshit
got
out of here.
muscles.
Yeet.
Okay.
I'll just tuck away my brother's tail. My previous self's tail.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad you did.
All right. As you are at the end of your rest, all of your items seemingly divided up. Some of you now bonded with them. Some of you a little closely bonded with them. More than the other group would probably, or yourselves would probably like. That's what do you do?
Well, as we're resting, Purse after tooting to the boots and feeling her entire being just vibrating, she's just going to be holding Queen Titania's heart in her hand, just sitting next to Swift Hollow, and casually is like, have you ever given your heart to anyone before?
Metaphorically or literally?
Well, I think in our case, metaphorically.
No. I think I
Never?
gave my heart out to my craft. Not to really any one person.
Have you ever considered giving it to a person?
Not particularly.
Ah! It's not so bad. I mean, it's not like giving your whole self to someone. I mean, that's what you do when you're not really being wise about it. But it's kind of like you and another person are. I wouldn't say it's like two halves becoming a whole, because that's not really a great thing. That's usually how most relationships fall apart, but it's two whole people coming together to make something greater and better than just themselves. Like Luna and Samantha. I've known the two of them since I started adventuring, and seeing how they've gotten close and seeing how in their own ways they balance each other out. That's not a bad thing.
Is that what love is supposed to feel like?
I think so. I mean, I remember when. Well, the last time I had these feelings, I remember that all I ever wanted to do was make them smile and make them happy and just live in peace with them. As much as you care about yourself, it's also caring about someone else. And it doesn't have to just be about romantic love. It could also be, well, like our friendship, like the way I love all of my friends.
Is this your attempt at vying to see what I'm going to wish for? Is this another set of your questions?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Have you thought about it? After all of this,
Actually, yeah. Getting my wings is nice, but I think there's something more that I could wish for. Something. If I've gotten everything that I've wanted, then it makes more sense for me to start giving back some more. And that's something I've tried to do as an adventurer, but maybe I can do that more effectively in other ways. I don't know how, and I don't know what Queen Titania would have in mind, but I do have some things I want to ask of her.
Hopefully it's within her purview.
I mean, she's kind of like a goddess in this realm, so I hope so.
A goddess so powerful that she could not even retrieve her own heart.
Sometimes it's not easy. Giving your heart to somebody is... It's a risk. You're trusting that person to take care of it. Dark-Eyed Fae instead took it from her, and she was crushed.
Certainly.
And even in the case where you don't give your physical heart away, even with Nimini's, there was a time we gave each other our hearts and then we broke up. And even though I have no ill feelings towards him, it was still very nerve-wracking seeing him again and wondering what feelings were still there, if any, if they were good, if they were bad, if they were lingering.
I was just thinking on that. A goddess could not possibly be so omnipotent, I suppose, or omnipresent, that she could not even do something like this. I suppose it's her own heart, but if we could defeat the Dark-Eye Fae, but she couldn't, how powerful could she truly be?
Considering the fact that we're probably the first to have defeated the Dark-Eyed Fae in a really long time, and we're definitely going to be the only ones coming back, I think she is very powerful. It was just more so of a matter of her not even coming here to begin with. After all, you can't really say somebody is strong or if you're stronger than somebody if they've never even given this a try. She couldn't even bear being near him. Why would she come all of this way? It was probably just safer for her emotionally to stay home.
No gods are fallible. Interesting. Interesting. I think that will definitely shape my wish.
I don't know if that's a good thing or if it's a bad thing, and maybe I shouldn't ask. And so I'm gonna take Titania's heart and tuck it safely into the holster that I usually put my Ioun stone in, but let my Ioun stone float around me instead.
I mean, if a god can be tricked.
But why?
No, you have to give your heart willingly. No, I suppose you could still be tricked. You could be tricked into thinking, what was your analogy? You were completing each other.
She thought he loved her. And that's why she gave it to him. Because when you
Or maybe
try
not
to.
a god. Powerful being.
Sure.
Hmm. Anyways, I think I know what my wish will be.
Huh. I can't wait to hear it. Persephone's gonna hop up a little more refreshed and rested. All right. Are we ready? Because you know it has to go really, really, really fast, right? But everybody, like, as soon as it opens, everybody has to go through, right? We're
I'm
clear
ready.
on that. No stragglers. I can only do this once a day.
Of course. Give me maybe 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes for Tamarcon. Okay. And then Persephone just like sits back down. 10 more minutes.
I
10
mean, you
more
might be
minutes.
able to get this off of me. Can you get rid of the magic?
No. I did that. I did like my dispelling magic earlier when you and Swift Hollow were about to like fall into a burning waterfall.
Ah, 15 minutes it is, I think. Yes, ma'am. What is this? Sure. Although right now, my handwriting might be a bit large. Tamar gives you an eye. And then looks over at Luna. Luna's just a big old derpus mess.
Oh, do it.
You,
Fucking do it.
Oh, sister!
did you have
Oh.
Luna just sign these? Anyway, if Luna trusts you so shall I. So I put my hand over the tome. I can! You just look through the rings. Can I speak out to you? Ah. No, do you need to say something? Yes. Oh. Oh, unlucky. A little bit
Okay.
of time as my form starts to shrink.
As you guys continue to wait, unless there's anything else you want to do, 10 minutes will pass, and Tamarkan, you feel that invigorating magic from the strange magical juice of your gourd suddenly starting to fade, and your size reverts back to that of a normal monkey man.
It feels a bit better. Back to good old Terma. I pick up the bow that was like a toothpick a second ago. You shall do quite well. As I just sort of flip it around in my hand and slide it across my back.
Scale
So,
back.
to the tree, yes?
To the trees! Persephone hops up and goes to the trunk of this really big tree throne. And where is my sheet? Okay, come on, get close. It makes me really, really nervous when all of you try to stand really far away because the magic is really, really quick. And I don't want anyone to get left behind.
It's okay. I'll walk home. You know, no one's gonna mess with me with these muscles.
Is it just me or is Persephone speaking even faster than she usually is? I'm ready when you are, Persephone.
Okay. As Persephone holds her hand up to this tree, the flowers along her plant arm start to glow and almost like begin to unravel and bloom as you see this tree begins to glow, the face of this trunk, and opens up as if you are looking into a geode, a cave lined by crystals, as she's going to cast Transport via Plants and trying to connect it to a tree she is so familiar with now. The great Gaia tree of Queen Titania.
Indeed, as you feel immediately, like just the moment this thing opens up. You've had some trouble in the past, it seems, trying to connect to the right tree, or at least going from one point to another, but this time it almost feels like the line is almost too direct, as if the moment this thing opens up, you feel yourself almost pulled through it, as there is a mighty force calling you through this connection. As, yeah, you'd feel yourself being pulled in the direction of our Gaia.
Here we go.
Assuming everyone steps through.
Persephone, the same as the last time, just ushers everyone through.
Yep, I'll walk on through.
As you guys would find yourselves slipping, that strange sensation of weightlessness, your stomach for a moment upturning as you are transported not just across a distance, not just through sight, but across what seems to be vast amounts of distance, that which has taken you days to traverse, until eventually you find yourselves sort of stepping out, but also somewhat within, between the roots. Just as you step into this massive mound of roots here, you find yourself stepping out at these massive roots at the base of a mighty mountainous tree as you find yourselves out of this dank cave, out of the shadowed area of this strange place where you guys all resided, and instead now in the Sealy Fae, sunlight of a bright hanging sun beaming down and basically warming all of your skins in this warm golden glow as you find yourselves for I guess for the first time and since your battle and descent into the tomb, a chance to breathe true fresh air. As yeah, you'd all arrive at the base of the tree. And once again, you'd see with Nemini sort of stepping forward, his wounds having been thawed out, it seems. Though some of the terrible gouges he'd suffered in that fight seemed to be filled and coated with frost before now just seeming to thaw away, seemingly healed. I'll take care of this part, don't you worry. Well, I suppose my friend will. As from her shoulder, some of his clothing will part, and you'll see Sevilla now appear. All right, I've got this. As she'll hold out her hands and sort of let loose this sprinkling of powder across the entire party, you feel that strange and levity sensation as you step off your feet, able to fly. I suppose it's time we have a very very exciting conversation with the queen. Oh, I can't even imagine what she's gonna say.
Oh, I can't wait! I'm so excited.
And she'll lead you along with Nemenes, who seems to be solemnly looking up at the tree and then back to you, Persephone, as the group swims their way up towards the tree, towards the same knothole they'd found
Ah.
before.
What's that face?
As Persephone like flies up to catch up by his side.
This is the end of your journey, it seems. It was just... I wish it could have been of more help. I'm sorry.
Nemenes, you and Savella helped plenty. Just being here was a help.
It's a strange feeling, seeing you again. I thought I would be broken once more, but I suppose after actually being broken for a moment, and seeing you fighting in your prime, seeing you hold your own, seeing you save your friends as well as myself, I suppose you're not the same girl I met before. And
No.
it feels warm. I feel like I can actually feel the sun again. So like shake his hair and you can see like a bit of like, looks like auburn and green color sort of streak down through the white for a moment. Feels quite nice. As you'll swim your way through the tops of the trees, eventually met by that same crowd of pixies and seems to be sprites, although the moment they recognize you, Silvella sort of explains the situation, motions back towards the group, and you guys seem to be led all the way to the greatest heights, once again, using the magic to swim higher and higher until the woodwork becomes bright, crystalline, and resplendent, until you find yourselves, once again, in the palace of the great fairy queen herself, the summer queen, the matron of the sun and of our solstice kingdom, as you will find yourself in the presence of this warm and glorious glow of Titania.
Look at the little plant fairies! There's so many little plant fairies!
As you place yourselves at the bottom, you would come into this room, the doors opening and ushering you in, sort of landing on the ground, as you would see, sort of catching his back for a moment before he turns to face you guys with a look of surprise, is Lord Kaelon, who immediately, like, turns and takes, like, a half a step of calm reserve before just dropping and sprinting and just coming up to catch you, Persephone and Luna.
Just a wall of muscle. A wall of muscle.
Back!
Fucking shatters his collarbones.
Just throws him out the way. As he just runs forward and just wraps his arms around you, Persephone. You're alive. Oh, thank the ghost. Thank Ayun. Thank anything. Are you okay?
I'm fine. I know I might not look the best, but I'm...
You look wounded.
Father, it's okay.
As he'll like take your plant hand and sort of look it up, holding your fingers apart, looking up and down the length, looking your other hands around. Just immediate look of concern across his face. But you're fine, right? Didn't leave
Father.
anything.
Father, she's just gonna grab onto his hands.
I'm fine. We're fine.
We're also fine back here.
What's that fine?
Certainly. Oh my god. As he just looks around for a second and then like shakes his head. Strange magic of the Feywild.
Don't ask about that. That's
This is
temporary.
peak form.
Luna has finally decided to be her true self.
Dude. And honestly, your hamstrings look magnificent.
Samantha, you better watch out. Quill is
Still
running
coming.
up on your girl.
Wow, yeah.
I need
No.
someone who can match my physical prowess. I'm sorry,
Oh
Samantha.
god.
Leave the belt on. As you'll hear this like soft voice sort of hum from the distance, almost like a chorus. Oh, you're alive! You're all alive! Oh, I felt my heart was going to break. My heart. But did you escape? Did you? As she sort of leans forward in her massive throne, this sort of look of hope in her large, doughy eyes. As Calliope, you can see her sitting surrounded by what looks to be a bounty of fruit, most of it seemingly having bites taken out of it as she's been feasting, sort of stopping her, I guess, gorging to stop and look to you guys, back to her mother, then to you.
Persephone steps around Kylon and just gives Queen Titania a big, warm smile and nods.
Truly. May I? As she'll like sort of step off her throne and sort of approach you guys with a strange amount of hesitance to her step. Before she was jovial and basically just almost bombastic the way she approached you guys, but now heavy steps, large size, almost timid like a child.
Persephone unbuckles the gem holster and gingerly pulls out Titania's heart and starts approaching her.
This massive mound of glowing magic emanates from your hand, and you can see her eyes light up the moment she sees it, and you see her hair, white, begins to blow and billow in an unfelt wind. Sparks of light beginning to run along her form as she sort of lowers herself down, hand extended out towards it. You actually did it. You found it. May I?
Of course. It's not mine to keep.
So I'll look over at Kalon and I'll just kind of whisper in his ear. Remember this day, Lord. Your daughter just saved your entire realm and your family.
As you can see his head like tilt in your direction, Fuller, but you can't help but notice his eyes are just solely fixed on that little elf girl approaching this great and powerful being who seems to be, in this moment, ever so helpless before her. As she sort of like kneels down, she almost like shrinks for a moment, but you see her sort of stop in size and actually kneel down to get a little bit below your size, Persephone.
Can I also tell you a story?
I do love a story. Of course.
Persephone is going to start pulling out her long chain of flowers that she had been weaving throughout this whole adventure and connecting the two ends together as she's talking.
Well, I used to be someone called Valora, but like you, there were times where I didn't like her story. So then I became Persephone. And just like you, Queen Titania, I was still having memories of being Valora. I remembered her joy, and I remembered her pain. And the time I spent as Persephone helped me realize that I will always have a part of Valora in my story. Her chapter helped me become who I am today. Just like you were once Maelstroma, just like you were once Othronus. So, while you have your heart and feel whole, at this point, now that since Titania shrunk down, Persephone is wrapping this giant flower chain into several different loops. I want you to remember a simple phrase during the times where you feel like you're going to be falling apart. Veris respi.
And as she says that, Persephone puts this bundled crown of flowers on Titania's head.
As seasons change, so do we.
And then holds the heart up. And then gently puts the heart into Queen Titania's hand.
As she sort of lowers herself down to this level, reaching your size almost. Her hand reaching out to take this massive magic and the sort of the chain of flowers resting upon her head. She almost guides your hand with the heart against her chest as you feel this thing press against the solid moment before it immediately starts to sink in, and this immediate surge of power runs through your hand, Persephone. Sparks of lightning shoot down its length, up the length of your entire arm to your shoulder, and even throughout Titania's form, almost like a lightning bolt had struck her, you see her shift in appearance for, I guess, really only you to see. For everyone else, it's almost like a bright flash of resplendent light, multiple colors, mostly of a blinding white, but to you, Persephone, you see an appearance of a creature that goes through a number of emotions, as if something lost and taken had been returned. The pain, the suffering, the heartbreak, the ache, and even the unrequited love all surge, almost forced from your hand in that moment of connecting hearts. You see, for just a moment, a face never seen before by mortal men. A face of the first Fae, I guess really the Archfey, the face of Maelstroma, beautiful and terrifying, hair like the winding storm, and where what looks like beautiful spring and blossoming flowers of summer have adorned her body, you instead see sparks of lightning, terror, and power abound. The entire room shakes and thunders. Sparks of lightning seem to shoot off towards the ceiling and bounce against them harmlessly as they turn into showers of light. And then, in that moment, as she sort of lowers her head before you, you see the flower crown's light begins to glow as well. The sparks running along it, and her form seemingly changes back. What once would have been a heartbroken creature, you felt, something that has gone through countless years of torment. Wounded, but healing. And the flower crown remains, and the soft, gentle features of Titania reemerge as the light suddenly fades. And down at your hand, Persephone, that strange tingling sensation. You've changed. The hand that seemed to be surged with that fey magic has wilted away and torn away the plant life resting upon your arm. Now, I guess a moment of understanding comes upon you. Surge of power before the words of Tuchikawa, a seed of power that has since blossomed. And now, given the right moment, given the right environment, given the right purpose, it's finally bloomed. As no longer do you have the gift of the Guardian in your hand, on the back of it seems to be a strange like coating, almost like your hand becomes green before fading back to its normal original color. Haven't seen it in quite some time. A symbol. Something not truly understood, but felt as that of the Fae. As your hand becomes your treasure, your gift of a Lifekeeper.
As it attacks.
Roll initiative. No. As you watch the last remnants of the plant life sort of fall away, fade, shrivel, and turn to dust, but in its place, it seems to be alive and well. Although when you do sort of think of that for a moment, the hand you once had, and call upon it, you do see naturally from the skin, from the flesh, manifesting with magic, the plant sort of surging up and down again, as if you could call it back, but no longer force that will. Thank you. I love that story. As seasons change, so do we. I thought I'd be gaining my heart back if I were to hold out hope for you and your friends. But I believe I've gained much more from this. Something to carry, something to learn from. You are a magnificent creature, Persephone. As all the rest of you, valiant vanguard. I suppose I have my word to keep. She'll gently step back and seat herself upon her throne, and you can see all around her these fae, these tiny little pixies that seem to be more plant-like in appearance than that of some of their other kin, start to surge and glow with magic as they start to swim around in the air around her. I promised you all, if you were to complete this task, to aid me as such, to do the impossible, to see what I truly desire come true, to give this story happily ever after. I would see it that you all would find what you desire. I would use my power to aid you however I can. Come. Step forward and name your wish, your desire.
First turns to her friends and just gives them a smile.
Oh, come You've had plenty of time to think about it.
She's still very much distracted by she can see skin on her left hand again for the first time in a long time. There's
Quill
skin here.
Quill will walk forward and as he walks past Persephone. Great job.
Sort of pat a soft, gentle touch on Kellon's shoulder as I sort of pass by.
Cast dominate person.
In a weird sort of way, Kellon, I wish my own father was a lot like you. You've done a great job with her, even if she had to take a trip to bloom into this.
First approaches Kyla and she's starting to get like emotional, there are tears in her eyes. She looks up at her father. She just gives him a big hug.
And just hugs her back. I am happy to see your hand back, I must say.
I miss the flowers, to be honest.
As Titania smiles down at you, Kuldor. You left with a task in mind, a question I'd left you. You wish to be a great knight. Though I must wonder, knights are not a frequent part of the Fae. This realm is ever-changing, Kuldor. Its peoples, its oaths, they're seldom kept. A knight is a rarity. So I must ask you, if you wish to be a great knight, what knight would you wish to be? Unless you've changed what you desire.
No. I wish to be known as the greatest knight in all of elven history. One of honor and one of bravery.
Elven history. I'm afraid to admit, Kuldor, I do not know much of the elves, save for their ties to the Fae. But I've seen, through your scars, through your wounds, through the scratches in that armor, you put yourself before the lives. You put your friend's life, sorry. I just got my heart back. Got palpitations. You put the lives of your friends before your own. You are a shield. You are a shield to them, a warden. Though I do sense trouble in your heart. Perhaps there are moments when you cannot find yourself at their side when you need them, and when they need you. Although I cannot speak of your history, and though I cannot tell what would make a great elven knight, I can see the bond we share in our magic. And if so, if that is what you truly desire, I can strengthen it. As this tiny little pixie comes floating over to you, Kuldor, its hands glowing with magic after it sort of touches against Titania's, I guess sort of her glow, so to speak, as it seems to softly buzz and get close to you. Is that what you would like?
Yes.
Very well. Although I cannot make you the greatest knight in elven history, I can put you on the path to become one. I can draw upon the magic that lies within you, and grant it new guidance and new strength. After all, a great knight, with just a touch of the arcane, can become stronger, if it too strengthens. As this tiny little pixie touches you, and you feel this sudden pull of magic inside, something that you've been practicing and working on for actually quite a while now, Kuldor. The power that you've called upon to save your allies when your feet aren't quick enough, when there's obstacles, things in your way you can't pass. You find that magic suddenly surge. It is limited in use, but now, you know through sheer will you can push yourself further than you normally could, and conjure forth that strange, but also controlled, teleportation magic with a greater variability and a greater frequency of use. As Kuldor wants to load, it's like delay and stall. Come on. I'll do it the old-fashioned way. As Kuldor, your Fey Warden boon, previously acquired to give you a greater versatility with your use of Misty Step, becomes fully, I guess, realized. Your practice still taking some time, but now, thanks to the magic of the Fey Queen, it is able to manifest within you and finally bloom. As now, having strengthened your use of your Fey teleportation, not only can you still use it twice per short or long rest, you can also use expended use. You can also use expend rather uses of your fighting spirit to use your Fey teleportation, or vice versa, essentially allowing you to share both pools of those abilities as one.
Nice.
In addition, you gain multiple features you can use with your Fey teleportation, so long as you are willing to spend 2 uses of it at once. You've previously been able to expand the range of your ability, able to teleport a greater distance than normal by spending both uses. But now you find yourself able to be driven by the magic even further. You could spend 2 uses to take an ally within 5 feet of you, so long as they're willing, and your size or smaller, along with your teleportation, allowing you to ferry away allies from danger or otherwise bring allies into the fight. You find yourself able to use that magic to strive yourself forward and strike out at your enemies, using that moment of pure magical force to guide your blade, allowing you to attack as part of that same bonus action, although deciding before or after you teleport to make that attack. And lastly, finding yourself able to maybe even pull upon some of the strange trickery magic that lies within the Feywild, able to choose an ally within the range of your normal teleportation, and rather than teleporting to them, you can allow yourself and that willing creature to swap places, allowing you to put yourself in danger's way while pulling your allies out of harm's reach.
Nice.
That's wicked.
As this tiny little pixie seems to pull away, you see its form seeming to shrink and almost particularize. Well, starts to turn into dust that sparkles and then vanishes. I hope this boon serves you well, Sir Knight.
I'm sure it will.
I suppose this is the wishes that you were whispering about. My queen Titania! It is nice to meet you again. It feels like it has been too long, even though it has only been a few short hours. I have to admit, I'm a bit embarrassed. The last time we met, I left in a bit of a hurry. Your presence, I'm sure you know, has effects on others. I am more clear-minded now, and although you are ever so resplendent as you were before, I will not ask for your heart again. I would hate to steal it back from you now that you have been returned to you. I, however, though, have heard the whispers of my companions of this promise you gave of how to aid us, and I thought of the trials that are ahead of me, and I know that many of them do not lie in this realm. Things that you may not be able to help me with. But there is a debt that I still need to pay. Something that I regret from long ago. This, as Tamar reaches around and pulls off the necklace around his neck and holds up the unicorn horn. A task given to me when I was young. To look out into the wilds and find something of value to others. To take it for my own. So I would understand what it means for something to have value. Before I was let loose on my own. At the time I did not know what pain that would bring. And ever since, I have been looking for a chance to return here. And let it lie where it should. With the remains of his loved ones. Sadly enough, my journeys have taken me far, far away from here, and I cannot linger long. I would ask for you, Queen Titania. Could you take up this burden for me? Something I know I should solve with my own hands, but it seems like fate would not allow me to. And the other part is it leaves me in a bit of trouble. This is my connection to the wilds when I am away. It is how I call upon my gifts, how I call upon the essence of the wilds, that I may use it. Without it, I may be quite burdened. So, I am a greedy monkey at times, and I ask for not one but two wishes. To take up this burden for me, and to give me a token of the wilds. Something that lets me feel the air here, smell the air here. Know that I will always be here in a peace. Will you do this for me, Queen Titania?
In my right state, feeling everything again, I can recall more clearly a certain little creature that approached me so long ago with a promise, a boast, you might say, to return something that was lost and dear to me. He was kind, but his words were earnest, just as yours were when you promised you would return my heart. I see him in you. He is, in a way, a part of you, and perhaps you a part of him. Both of you have done me great kind, and I suppose another promise kept could be shared. And she'll hold out her hand, and you can see that horn. A light begins to shine around it and begin to pull itself from your hand. My influence on the world, if this were to come from the other side, is quite, well, weakened. Suppose the end of this ceremony prevents me from directly doing so. But I have many children, and I have many followers. They are loyal, and they will see to it that this is returned to its rightful place.
I am hoping that you will find it easier than I. When I claimed that prize, taken from a graveyard, from this plane, it was still when I did not take this form and was still young, exploring the wilds. It came from the unicorn of this land, not of the other.
Then it shall find its rightful place. But in its
Eh.
place, it seems, you are left empty-handed. But if I recall, a certain little monkey did not need such a trinket to conjure forth its connection to a greater power. It held it in his hand. He was such a strange but enjoyable little creature. He seemed not so insistent on great tasks save for the one he promised, but more simply wandering and enjoying what he saw. He told me something once, that the value and power of what one sees around them is what they make of it, what they believe. And she'll reach her hand down and one of these little tiny pixies flies over to you. And I believe you might even hold that potential in your very hand, or perhaps just behind the ear. As you'll see this tiny little creature swim forward and reach out and gently touch this tiny little thing resting behind your ear that buzzes with magic. As you feel your bar suddenly surge with a sense of power that courses throughout you, not so much invigorating you, but allowing you to connect with your magic, even in a strange, somewhat new way. A gift of his, a new way to see the world that I hope perhaps you may see. A touch of his own magic made yours. As you are granted the Trickster Prince magic boon, not only allowing you to use your treasure of the Monkey King as a spellcasting focus for your cleric spells, but also granting you access to a few more spells, those seemingly of a deceitful and otherwise illusory nature, although the way it takes shape is going to be up to you how it decides. You gain not only the Silent Image spell, counting as a cleric spell, you also gain one of 3 spells of your choice. Arcanist Magic Aura, Blur, or Mirror Image. They count as cleric spells for you, and once per day you can cast each of them without expending a spell slot.
Ooh.
And your connection, your bind to the wilds, it lies further beyond simple magic. I can sense it in you just as I did in him. Although you appear as beast, you are also, in your time of wandering that land, man. But you wanted this as a beast, did you not? Something carefree, enjoying, perhaps hunting in your time, perhaps toying with all sorts of combatants and enjoying yourself all the while. Your connection to the wilds comes from that nature, I can tell. And for keeping two promises, and truly, for being the one to step forward and even offer the impossible among this group, I feel you deserve another gift. As the little tiny fairy actually reaches out and plucks, sort of from your own head, Tamarcon, a couple hairs, and then immediately tries to put them in your mouth. As you slide these hairs onto your tongue and lets go, you feel this sudden, almost like a strange feeling of that emptiness within you, for a moment becoming whole, before reverting back to that strange emptiness, almost like a constant shifting back and forth. As for a moment, you feel the hair on your body become thicker, your musculature become a bit stronger, and then immediately fading. A feeling you sense sometimes when you pull upon the magic inside you to become more bestial, the power to shift. As it feels like that has been since strengthened as you gain the boon, the Beast of Many Natures, allowing you to not only use your shifting feature twice per short rest now, but allowing you to expend both uses to gain one additional feature of your choice when you use the shifting. You can use the Enduring Beast, which allows you to maintain your shift for 10 minutes, and Hunter, which allows you to know the general direction and distance of any creature you're familiar with within 10 miles or 20 miles, or otherwise 100 miles if you're in your favorite terrain, allowing you to essentially sense the air and smell and determine where your allies are, or otherwise people you might know of, maybe people you might be intimately close with. And lastly, a creature such as yourself who enjoys fighting from close range finds yourself able to strengthen your physicality to the point where even if you were to find yourself in a bind, so long as you can see your opponents, and no longer incapacitated, of course, because that's part of the shifting physics condition, you can keep yourself from being put in a disadvantageous position, allowing yourself to maintain yourself even when in strange positions or otherwise fighting in a feral form, even if on all fours.
I have to eat meat. I return to this place. The smell of the air. It was overpowering. And to get to hunt again, it truly made me miss this place. But I know that I will return one day. It won't be much longer. Thank you, Quintetania, for all that you have done. But, like I said, I am a greedy monkey. I have one more request for you.
And what will that be?
Can you share with me his name? The one that came before me.
He gave me many, although there was one that stuck in my mind. He called himself a trickster prince. But truly, he was Ramir Khan. Smaller in size, I must say, compared to your stature. Bit more hair upon him, darker in color. But it went well with his magnificent coat, a set of robes that he seemed quite content and safe within.
Thank you, Quintetania. You have made this young monkey quite happy these days. I should let the others have their try. As I sort of dance backwards a few steps, as just a good glee in my step as I go, as I give a bow down to her, deep and low, spreading my arms out, and then twisting my body and walking back to the group.
Alright, I guess I'll go next.
Hang on,
So-
Just one moment. As Luna is walking away, Persephone reaches out with her bloomed hand, and it starts to glow with a light green light, and flowers begin to bloom around the belt. As with my new boon, I cast Greater Restoration to break your attunement to the cursed buff belt. Let it fall.
As immediately you feel the belt loosen around your waist, its magic suppressed, and then Luna, your musculature goes back to normal. The belt just hanging loose around you.
Does she regain her mental stats?
Seems like it.
No, she just stays stupid.
Yeah, they're gone forever.
Meathead
Belt-
forever. New
Man,
form of torture.
Okay,
part of me is thankful, but there's a small part of me that misses it.
give me the belt, Luna.
I'll see what can be done. As I sort of reach up for the belt from Luna.
I'll put it in both of their hands since it's a big belt.
Tobin is Arbor again.
I thought she looked much better with the muscles.
Persephone. Oh, that's uncomfortable.
Yeah, she's gonna continue walking forward, and then as she gets to the step, she'll turn around to the rest of the group and just say, "Don't be too mad at me." She'll get up here and address the queen. Hello, Queen Titania. Or
Hello.
so my wish, I guess, isn't really my wish. There's someone important to me that hurt me, and I guess that's a very similar way the Dark-Eyed Fae hurt you. I thought he used me, but after a while, I feel like after me and my party took him down, he still continued to help me, maybe in his own way. So my wish is more his wish. Utilizing the part of his soul that still remains in my own body, can you bring back to life Eric Gellner,
What?
but as just a normal human, and preferably with his memories intact?
A very selfless wish of yours. Someone who's hurt you, but you wish give them sounds like life. Why would you? I'm very curious. What is the nature of this wish? As she leans forward and rests her hands on her fingers, eyeing you very curiously.
Well, he wasn't a good man. I don't have any illusions about that. But he wanted to set foot in the sun, much like I could, but he couldn't because he was a vampire. So if he comes back as a human, he could go in the sun. Hopefully he won't, do terrible things. And if he does, me and my group can put him down, much like the way we did before, but this will give him a second chance. He was still my father for most of my childhood.
After all that pain I can sense in you. There is still so much love within you. It is admirable. Truly it is. And if that is what you wish for, I suppose I can. Give me your hand, Diana.
Oh, that's right. I told you my name was Diana. My name's actually Luna. Sorry about that as I hold out my hand.
Oh, also a lovely name. As she'll basically step forward off her throne again, reaching down and gently taking your hand, and you feel this immense amount of warmth coax through you, and almost like a strange sort of prying sensation as her hand begins to glow large against your own, as this light seems to press into your skin and then pull away a small mound of this strange warbling shadow. And I can also sense within you great pain, sadness, longing, but not that of your own. Something that has resided there, I suppose, made itself home. Such a pitiful little thing. Longing for love, but in all the wrong ways, I suppose. As she holds this little warbling mass in her hand, she gently closes her fist around it, and you can see a light starting to crease and streak between the actual, the spaces between her fingers. And within, her hand starts to bulge a little larger, and then she rests it down against you, Luna. And sort of pulling it free, you see this shadow sort of rise up, stretching tall and thin, just shy of your own height. And then the shadow seems to be washed away with the glow of Titania as you see a human stands next to you. Pale skin, still strangely dressed, thankfully possibly to the use of magic, and skin scarred and wounded from it seems to be a battle it previously had. As standing next to you now, eyes blinking to the light, squinting at them, a hand moving in front of his face instinctively before realizing it does cause him no harm, is Eric Gelner. As you hold his hand up to the light and then pull it away, blinking. Now where am I? What is this? As he turns to you, Luna. I feel as if I was having the strangest dream. What is this feeling over me? This soft burning.
That's probably the blood pumping through your veins.
How did this... Oh my, you are a specimen. As you see Queen Titania sort of like reel back at his words. I see. It seems as if he's... He looks human, but he certainly has something about him that doesn't seem quite human. Very strange. Hello, human, if that is what you are now. I am Queen Titania, the Summer Queen of the Seelie Court in the Feywild. This is... Well, I would say Diana, but I suppose is Luna. She's brought you back to life. As this tiny little creature resting on Titania's shoulder suddenly disperses into sparks, as she'll sit back and rest herself on her chair. It seems as if, despite all that you two have shared, she has used her gift, a gift of great power, to see you have your life back and allow you to stand in the sunlight and bask in its warmth. As Eric just sort of like looks up to her and up to the sky, where you can see that sunlight shining through these crystalline mirrors on the ceiling, and then down back to Luna and to the rest of the group, eyeing some of you curiously, new faces among the valiant vanguard, and then back to Luna. Why?
Because part of me feels like he actually cared about me.
I did. And I do. But, admittedly, so much driven by a hunger. A hunger that now fades from me. I feel weak as he sort of like takes a step forward and immediately starts to buckle in a step. Oh, don't walk too fast! Well, to change your nature, I had to use some powerful magic. Your strength is going to be lacking. You're going to be at the mercy of your, I suppose, new companions for now. Enjoy. As he'll just sort of hobble and step next to you, Luna.
I have a lot of things to explain to you, and maybe with the help of some of my friends, specifically looking at Persephone, maybe we can all be friends. So just kind of move him over here to the side.
Now drink this love potion.
Chug.
Give yourself some deep inspiration, Luna.
Oh.
Good shit.
Cute.
As
Yeah.
we cut off his head.
Wholesome.
Murder! Yeah, as Persephone casted the magic on Lunas with Hollow would tentatively try to touch your arm. Way back when, before she made the wish.
Oh yeah,
Really?
of course.
I suppose we really are truly opposites now. Can she touch your arm?
She doesn't stop you.
It's not a plant anymore.
She lets flowers grow from it.
Oh, I suppose it is. Can I pick it?
Persephone turns her hand over and opens the palm. Small flower blooming out from the center of it.
You literally bloom life.
I guess I do now.
Seeing Luna get her wish and scamper off with all the wall, take her step forward. Ah,
Ooh, the Silent One. I've heard your voice very little, and yet here. I suppose I must hear your greatest desire. I am very curious what you would wish for.
Persephone scoots up like next to Samantha so she can get a closer look.
yeah, Swift Hollow's taking her steps forward. She takes a moment to return to zero. She truly embraces Swift Hollow, the Swift Hollow, and then just takes a kneel and raises her hand above her head. Are you like your subjects? Can you read emotion through flesh?
I can see it with my own eyes, though a touch will always give me the clearest reading. Are you offering?
Swift Hollow says nothing, keeps her arm outstretched.
Very well. I shall reach out and gently, run one of her large fingers against the tip of your own hand, just gently touching and feeling that spark of magic as something tries to reach inside and tries to read your own nature, Swift Hollow. What does she read?
She reads everything. She gets the entire Swift Hollow, not the act, not the gravedigger. Swift Hollow, the assassin.
You are a prime hunter, it seems. Even I almost feel a danger with you in my presence, I must say. And a burden it feels. Something weighing on your mind, something guiding you. You feel you need preparation. Am I right?
Tomorrow is a hope, Lady Titania. Never a promise. I wish to become the shadow of death.
Very well. Dangerous. And always armed with teeth. Within you, my little friend, I sense danger and potential. Potential that you've clearly shown can be used in the right direction. Not simply to cause harm and kill, but to right wrongs. And that is where I shall place my hope in your tomorrow. I cannot make you the world's most dangerous killer. I cannot make you the most dangerous beast in the wild. But I can give you something to help you along the way. Something that shall guide your hand and make you ever the more dangerous. So that even the greatest foes, no darkest of eyed fae, or creepest of shadows, would ever be able to challenge you or sway you. Magic within you is already strong. Perhaps I shall pull it out and give you just a moment's touch of greater force. as one of these little pixies flies down to you, Swift Hollow, perches on your shoulder, and you feel this warm magic beginning to seethe into your body. And again, you feel something of an innate magic you've had before, something that you've recently been toying with, suddenly start to manifest and bloom ever so softly. You are suffused with this Feywildian magic, one might say, that of both grace and at times mischief and trickery. You feel it run through your entire body to the point where if you were to hold one of your tools in your hand, a blade, a weapon, it carries with much more grace now, something that seems to be almost magically gifted to you. A skill and expertise in the use of certain tools, in this case, tools of death and destruction, tools of slaying, all falling into your hands and even becoming more refined as you hold them. As you are gifted, Swift Hollow, the boon of the fangs of the wolf, granting you a magical proficiency in all martial weapons. You can pick up any weapon you wish, and suddenly magic guides your hand to wield it expertly. In addition, when you finish a short or long rest, you can touch one weapon of your choice, granting it some magic to help guide its purpose. It allows it to become magical for the sake of overcoming immunity and resistance if it's not already magical. In addition, depending on the type of that weapon, it gains additional features. If it's a light weapon, you can simply make an attack with it as a bonus action on your turn. If it's a melee weapon, it becomes finesse if it lacks the heavy property, allowing you to turn even some of the more mundane and more weighted items into something you can guide with your delicate and precise strikes. If it's ranged, if you attack and miss, you can use your reaction to re-roll to strike another target within 60 feet of it. And if it's thrown, you can cause that item to immediately return back to your hand, granting you greater tools to fight and slay your targets.
Nice.
Thank you, Lady Titania. Truly. Swithella stands back up and looks at her one last time before Swithella becomes Swithella the Adventurer again. Her face, still Swithella, but it's not as graven, not as pale.
Truly a remarkable creature, I must say.
It is necessary. As she takes a very low bow.
Titania
And,
nods her head at you and watches you walk away.
First reaches her hand out for Swift Hollows.
Did your arm change too?
As she grabs the
think
hand
so.
that you had Titania touch.
I don't think so. At least not physically. Are you next?
I will have
Samantha.
words with her. And Samantha stands up next to Persephone, and we can just tell Persephone just looking at Samantha's face and the way that her snakes are all just sort of docile and slow at her sides. There is an obvious, like, sort of sadness just about the way Samantha looks right now as she looks at you and she just places a hand on your shoulder before turning away and casting a simple spell as Luna, you hear in your mind, I am sorry for lying to you. I will never do that again.
Ah, a resplendent emerald. So good to see you. And what, you look so solemn.
It is hard to look at you, Titania, at everything you are and not not be filled with avarice and envy. What do I wish for? Simple. Everything you have here in the Feywild, I wish to see for myself on the prime material. Titania, I am a fallen goddess. I am the Serpent Empress, Queen of Avarice, vestige of Malar. I am Medusa, a creation of singular purpose, born of a clever trick by the God of Secrets. I can pull on the desires of mortals, I can whisper in their ear and feed their ambition. I can drive brother against brother and split a nation in two. I have driven nations apart. This is the weight of temptation and malice on their simple mortal hearts. And I spent my divinity promising the world to those who would burn it. But I never delivered, locking their souls away in a place of eternal strife and ambition, sending the meek back into the world, scale and poison, their visage a mark of the emptiness they would do anything to fill. But when I look at you, I feel empty. Leonti and their faith in me is gone. The Raven Queen came for me in the upper plains, scarred my face, rent my hair, and sent me screaming to Hearth. Every step of the way I've been afraid of what I would lose again. But you simply lost your heart. And in your own way, you persisted. You possess something I can only brush against. Your subjects love you, care for you, would die for you. Mine would rip my hair from my scalp if it meant claiming my power. I can be persuasive, but fancy words and kindness only take you so far. I want to reign supreme, so that I will know what it means to rule in the heavens again. And the first step of this is the Valiant Vanguard. And she sort of turns half towards Titania, half towards the rest of the group. These brave men and women I fight beside, live with, travel with, they are my closest and only true friends. I thought I possessed them like a horse, favorite necklace, and would never let something take them away from me. I still wouldn't. But I lost someone, Queen Titania, and I could not stop it. Everything I love about him, his simplicity, his warmth, his strength against the stacked deck and terrible hand that was his life. This man meant the world to me in a way I'd never felt before. saving my life more times than I care to count. But he did not die. Death would not stop me. He had to leave. He had to be there for his family, for his own life, for the people that needed him. But I still needed him. And I still grieve for him. It was at that moment he walked away from Crossway. I could not bear the pain of watching him go. I knew what it really meant to love something. I do not covet my allies. They are no possession of mine. But I love them with every fiber of my being and never wish to see them fall. My love for Luna is unparalleled. Her dry levity and cunning and beauty are beyond compare. But she will check me and care for others in a way most satisfying and surprising. I pray she will join me in the end. Persephone, a woman who had faith in me when no one else would, no one else should, believes in the good of everyone, but is wise to see that it won't always work out. She is no fool. Quildor, a stalwart and brave man who lives by his convictions and his discipline, can be relied on to do what needs to be done, no matter what. Swift Hollow, measured, precise, graceful in everything she does. My time with her is mystical and ethereal, like a lotus. And Tamar Khan, a chaotic man, who I was sure I was going to hate. A wrench in every plan, a whim unmeasured, a fool, to be sure. But Tamar has made me love the Feywild, a place unknown to me. He is born of it the same way I am of the upper plains, and he is crude and brash and boisterous. Even if he frames all of his ideas in nonsense, he is always supportive in ways you'd never expect. And a friend I hope to have into the eddies of time. I have bared my soul before you, Titania, because I want to be truly honest with you when I say my wish. I wish to inspire them to greatness, Lady of Summer. I wish to steady their breath when their wounds leave them bloodied. I wish to drive their strikes when their arms are leaden, to clear their mind when the weave slips their grasp. I do not wish for them to kneel. I wish for them to know their leader is with them in heart, soul, and body, always.
And you'll see her like sort of not step off of her seat, but sort of lower herself after her chair and put her hand to the ground before you. Come here, Samantha.
Just sort of
like raising her down to the ground like a platform almost.
Falterly steps forward, just unsure of her own footing.
As she'll like put her hand beneath your feet and lift you up, and immediately, like after holding in the air for a moment, pulls you close and just sort of pushes you against her chest. I admit, I do not know of the gods. Their words and teachings are fleeting, and the names you speak, perhaps once I've heard before, but their meaning, it falls before me uncertain. But I hear your story, the story of Medusa. She sounds so very familiar. A powerful woman who has lost so much. But the story of Samantha, that one has sounded so wondrous. Not surrounded by followers who would tear from her what she covets, but friends who've protected and loved and cherished. Friends she's cherished. If there was a story I had to choose, a story I would choose to live, power or no power, Samantha's the story I would. I sense in you the promise of a great leader, a great longing, not simply for what was lost, but for what you may lose again. I understand this feeling quite well. And your words, they do have power. Power I've seen drive these men and women to stand forth and smile, to bolster confidence, or some may have lacked. I see them turn to you, just as my friends and family turn to me. I would like to see the story of Samantha continue. And if it means helping you as I can, granting you more confidence and strength in your voice so that you may guide your allies, then so be it. As she's talking, one of these little pixies sort of rounds through the air and then sort of pushes you against the back. And suddenly you feel this thing sort of phase into you and then disperse into magic as you feel a surge of power run through you and then sort of stabilize inside. Something you feel like you've always had, but now has been given form through magic. You've had the power to guide your allies with your words, to strengthen them, sometimes with the use of tools that guide you to do so, but otherwise through your charisma and panache. You are always the powerful voice that pulls your allies out of these dark situations, and even now can push them to go even further beyond. As Samantha, you earn the Voice of Leadership boon, granting you a pool of inspiration die equal to your charisma modifier, allowing you to use your bonus action to give them to allies who can hear you, allowing them to use those dice as d8s to add to ability checks, attack rolls, and saving throws. You can additionally spend 2 inspiration dice as part of a bonus action to command one ally that can hear you within 60 feet to take an action as a reaction, able to use either the attack action, making a single attack, cast a spell, but only cast a cantrip, or take the dodge action, allowing you to force them to attack in the moment of notice or allowing them to defend themselves in case of danger rearing around the corner.
It brings me happiness to know that my story does the same for you. Thank you, Summer Queen.
I shall gently let you down. You will do wondrous.
Samantha just sort of looks up at her with a very soft sort of smile, tears drying on her face. All of her snakes sort of coiling up to her and just sort of trying to comfort her and brush against her cheeks. And she turns around and sees Persephone.
Persephone also with some tears running down her face, just her hand wiping them away. You can see these flowers have grown upon her arm. She runs up to Samantha and she just gives her a big hug. I am so proud of you. And as she pulls away, she plucks these flowers off her hands, seeming to have intertwined already in their own vines, and she puts this flower crown upon your head, saying her ever so favorite catchphrase.
Eres Respi, Samantha.
As the seasons change, so do we. Samantha just hugs you back, and for the first time, there is no tension, there is no coldness, it is just warmth. Did you stay in your room? Jesus.
Oh god, the role playing, it's real!
Oh no!
The fourth wall!
Put on
She
those
just-
fucking flowers, Samantha.
Quietly walks down the stairs, only shooting cursory glances to the other members of the Valiant Vanguard.
Oh, I give you squinty eyes.
With Hollow is as blank face as ever.
Looks at Luna and Tamar.
The big old grin on Tamar's face.
Luna kind of walks around Eric, puts his hand on Samantha's shoulder, slightly to separate Samantha and Eric, just in case, but also care and solidarity.
I think I'm still dreaming. This is all very strange.
We will talk later. It's all right.
And you, wondrous little creature, what is it that you desire?
It's funny, in this moment, I feel like I've gotten everything I would have wanted. I know who I am. I have my friends. I've helped so much, and I want to do more. Seeing Samantha be her true self in front of all of us, I cannot tell you how long I've wanted that for her. I want my connection with Faye to be strengthened. I consider myself a guardian to those of this realm, to those of mine. But most importantly, I want them to know that as I am a friend to the Valiant Vanguard, I am also a friend to them. And in all of my small ways, I guess I've been trying to achieve that. I've started working on wings. I have these new boots, but I don't know how well to express it. I've always felt a connection to this realm. It's not that I want to leave mine. I guess I just want to take these two worlds that I feel a part of, and I want to make them one greater thing. These two wholes to make something beyond myself.
So much kindness and generosity I can sense from you. And truly, though you come from another world, though you are not as the Khan is, or even as my children, you have such a strong connection to the Fey life. I sensed it first in your hand, admittedly, but now it comes from your spirit. You are levity, you are joy, you are ferocity. You are truly, in its own way, wild. I think you'll find what I have to offer to be something that can join those things. For one, I believe, while beautiful in their own right, what rests upon your shoulders could be more natural. As you see this final little pixie fly forward and sort of just fly into you and then disperses like it did into Samantha, only this time the light seems to envelop you and shift as once it fades, Persephone, you find your body's ever so slightly changed. Your cloak on your back has dissolved and disappeared. Your form has become somewhat more slender and really more, I guess, like, not quite alien, but like more, I guess, like how Nimine's or Calliope's forms are. A bit more thin, refined, magically graceful. And even your own magic seeming to manifest itself in a stronger way as you gain the Feywild Nature boon, allowing you to one increase either your charisma, dexterity, or intelligence score by one, granting you additional uses of your hidden path features by an equal times number equal to your charisma modifier, and with a moment's will, you feel magic sort of tingle up your spine, up to your back, as you can manifest a pair of wings as a bonus action. What do your wings look like?
As Persephone's wings begin to flutter and the glitter along her cloak almost begin to disintegrate its cloth form, Persephone's wings begin to unfold like that of large blue butterfly wings, still glittering in some. It's almost like it's still a little bit transparent with a tint of blue, but ever so glittering and glass.
And now that you fit the part, I suppose there is one gift I have left promised before even the impossible was challenged. That if I were to help you, if you were to help me, rather, that I would give to your home, to your land, the blessing of the Sealy Court. A blessing I can give to you, though as its holder, you may be burdened with its magic. It is magic that you can transfer to a great source of power or great conduit. I've heard tale from Lord Gallion that in your home there is a great and mighty tree of crystal. It would make a wonderful reciprocal for such magic. Given time, it would bloom and spread throughout all of your home, and the blessing of the Sealy Court would be yours. But as its bearer, you must accept all it has to offer. Do you feel willing, young Persephone?
Become the tree.
I accept this responsibility.
Very well. As her own hand this time, not a pixie flying from one of her throne, a small ball of light extends out from her hand, growing large in size, almost like the sun itself is expanding before seeming to condense, and then flies forward up towards you, Persephone, and it presses against your chest, sinking into your skin and into your heart, and you feel that warmth spread inside you, and suddenly everything becomes warmer and lighter, and your mind, just for a moment, becomes so much more clear as you become the bearer of this magic. A magic you feel that you can transfer the majority of, but having since touched it, having since been its bearer, you've been changed as you receive the blessing of the Summer Court. Your wisdom score increases by 2 as well as its maximum. Your type becomes Fey. Your Balm of the Summer Court dies become D8s, and additionally, whenever you heal a creature with your Balm of the Summer Court, it gains one of the benefits of your choice. As before you, Persephone the elf is no more, and truly, Persephone, I guess truly could be called the Ladron, stands before you. All of them fucking recaps, baby.
Beat me to the punch, damn it! I was typing that.
Persephone's new wings begin to flutter and she just hovers there for a moment. Great big smile to Titania.
Thank you. And
She looks over to Caleb.
and my promise still stands. There might not be a wedding, but we can still be sisters.
Of course, of course. You still have that portal, right? We can just go back and forth. You guys still have the key, right? You guys didn't lose that, did you?
No, we should still have it.
Oh.
I don't suppose that means you still have to come to the Prime, but if there is a safe way for you to join us, you're always welcome to visit.
Oh, I'll always find the way. As you'll see, like, Titania sort of sit up a little bit. I've been curious, though. You have that key, don't you? Lord Galleon always mentioned it. He carried it on his person, but I've never actually seen it myself. A marvelous little device. Do you know how it works?
No, we don't.
Persephone's gonna fly over to Samantha.
Where is it? Do you have it? You still have it, right? Is it hiding in your snakes?
Which device?
The key. The cube.
Ah. No, it is not hiding in my snakes. Should be in my bag of holding, actually. Yeah.
As Persephone takes it, she turns around, she begins flying towards Titania, and then stops. And she flies over here to this gap where she can see her father and just looks at him.
May I?
Actually, I would insist. As he actually steps up behind you, sort of stepping around Samantha and looking up at the queen, which is sort of a lasting to you, Persephone, knowing stare. I've been curious myself.
Perse zips on over and holds out the key.
Hands a tiny little cube over. You can see your hand reach out and gently take this tiny thing in her grasp. It's like 3 inch on either side. Cube made of this like pristine looking material covered in looks to be arcane writing with these large ruby faced like facets across its form. It seems almost beautiful in its shape, but so simple and so precious and small. You can see her holding it in her hands, her eyes sort of flashing. I've always wanted to see this thing. My eyes can discern so many things of magic in this nature. Things of your world are so peculiar, the nature's so stable and still. It's easy to read. But this is... this is funny. How does this work? The magic inside is all protecting. And she'll sit there and sort of like, you'll see her press into one of these little faces. Almost looks like a switch. But nothing happens. Oh, I see. It lies inside. As she'll sort of let go of this cube, floats in her palm, and you'll see her hands sort of move around it very gently. Very well, let's see how this toy works. She'll pry her fingers apart, and you see light seeming to shimmer around this cube, making like strange, almost like jagged lines in its shape as you see pieces of it start to pull apart one after another, almost gracefully and magically, as if each piece of this box was being pulled away and dissected. Now that is very strange. I've never seen one of these before. Did you make this? Did one of you make this? It's truly magnificent looking. As these pieces pull away, these resplendent colors begin to fade. You can see the bright ruby buttons beginning to dull as the magic is pulled away from them. And left in its place, floating amidst this cloud, I suppose, of debris, is a shape. Small, smaller than the box, just small enough to fit inside of it. What seems to be a power source, but not a crystal, not a glowing mass of magic. Instead, it's a shape all too familiar. Round, completely rounded. Dark, black, featureless. A small hole in reality.
Persephone quickly flies backwards away from it.
Marvelous. There's so much magic in this thing.
Don't touch it. Don't touch it.
What's the
It's-
problem with touching it?
We've come across those before. I believe that they've been called holes, and they just suck things into it and they can't come back out. Luna almost lost her arm the last time we saw one.
But it's so small. How could this be? And you see her hand just gently get near it, and you see
No.
immediately some of the light around her hands gets pulled towards this hole, and she has to wrench her hand away. What in the world?
Can
And
we?
immediately
Is
she
there,
claps her hands, and you see the pieces of this cube snap back together, and the entire thing bounces off the ground and lands at your feet, Persephone. What in the?
Father,
That is awful!
Didn't you say Callian fixed that?
He did. He ventured beyond Inulin, beyond Illyria, and found a means to, as he very hesitantly moves his hand down toward the cube and then pulls his hand away. We have to get home. As that is where we will end tonight's session.
Dun, dun,
A
dun.
glorious series of gifts given to the valiant vanguard for their triumphant defeat of a great power, and the reveal of a strange connection between a strange and mysterious power that seems to be spreading all across Hearth, now seemingly finding its way not only to the Feywild, but into the hands of those closest to Persephone, to the royalty of Inulin, even the hierarchy of Illyria. What exactly does this mean, and where will it take our adventurers? You'll have to find out on the next episode of Song of Rapture. Should be next week? Should be next.
Should be next
Should be
week.
good.
Mm. 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 Boy, oh boy. It is an interesting sort of situation that we find ourselves dealing with in this wonderful little world. I am looking forward to figuring out what on earth is the connection between all these different spheres. And I hope you are as well. We should be back next Thursday for more Song of Rapture. But be sure to join the Discord or follow me on Twitter for updates or changes to that schedule if there's any delays or anything like that. And then we will be back this upcoming Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern to continue with Heroes of Thylia, with the Oracle's Chosen now finding themselves crossing a few thresholds through their journey through the Mithril Mountains, and now in the midst of a full-out war between the trolls and the werewolves of the Mithril Mountains, a conflict that will decide whose domain these mountains truly are. And hopefully our heroes will help the less people-eaty side. So we'll see what happens this upcoming Sunday. And
Besides that,
But yeah, that's all we've got for you tonight. I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with us. And thank you so much, Pyrus Manaburst, for the host, and everyone for hanging out in chat. I hope you had fun. I saw someone was going to steal all of Omen's boons for their own game now. So good luck to you. Hope you
Steal
enjoy
everything.
the concept. It's the best. Use boons. They're awesome. That's all we've got for you tonight. We're going to go ahead and share the love with somebody else playing some D&D themselves. So with that, may your dice roll 20s, and you always make your saves.
Lady y'all.
Bye!
wear your mask still. It's not over.
Check out our merch
Wash
store
your
on Redbubble.
hands. Don't touch your face.
Yeah.